Here.
Shauna Manthorn.
Here.
Ray Woodward.
Here.
Mary Ann Springer.
Here.
And are the others excused absent?
So yes, Katie is excused, Alyssa is coming, some sports activities ran late, and Mr. Woodworth is coming as well. He's a little bit
Okay.
delayed as
And
well.
Mr. LeCain?
Mr. LeCain is stuck in Brattleboro, Vermont.
Everybody's
So
excused.
Yeah, all transportation, all excused. Can
Dawn will explain to us all why he's running late tonight.
we start with the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Stack, would you care to lead us?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Starting off, we have student, staff, and family share.
So we have two groups to talk through tonight. The first, we're going to have a visit from Sandown North. I would like to welcome Ms. Yasik, who's the principal there. They're going to give us a short little preview. Then we'll have some time to engage for the board with some students. Welcome, everybody.
Good evening.
Evening.
So we are excited to be here tonight to talk about our One School, One Book event that we had this year. I'll start with some introductions. Laura Yasik, principal at Sandown North.
I'm Laura Ross, the librarian at Sandown North.
Mark Hamill, this is the principal.
I am Joseph Reynolds from Elementals.
So you'll see in our presentation tonight, it was a little tricky to get some families here tonight with us. There's a lot of sporting events happening, some band tryouts. So in our presentation tonight, you'll get to hear from these wonderful students, but also some students that'll be in the presentation as well. All right.
All right.
You
I
ready?
just gave it to Mark.
Okay.
I let him be the clicker.
Okay. So why One School, One Book? What is it about?
So with One School, One Book, it's a program that you subscribe to, and every student in our school receives a copy of the book, and as well as the students, it's all staff, everyone from the bus driver to the classroom teachers to the lunch ladies, absolutely everyone, the custodians. And it really helps to bridge the homeschool connection just by having us all read the same book at the same time. At Sandown North, we took that a step further and included our community. We picked 5 different locations in town: the post office, the town hall, the library, Brichetti's Pizza, and Triple Elm. And they all agreed to keep a copy of the book as well as a bucket with tickets. There'll be pictures in a minute.
You couldn't find any other restaurants in Sandown to?
Yeah, that's it. That's all we got.
That's all we need.
Well, we
That's all
could
we
have
need.
found
Right next door to
Sorbinos,
each
but
other.
we thought that might be an issue with the school board, I'm just saying.
So why do we choose it? So September 27th, the movie The Wild Robot came out, and our second graders had already read book number 1. So there was all buzz about the whole movie, and they're all excited about it. So we chose book number 2, and a lot of them even went back and read book number 1 as well, didn't you?
All right, so the process and planning for the rollout of One School, One Book was a lot of fun, a lot of brainstorming. Initial meeting started back in February, around February break. Laura and I had talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the year. I'd heard about it in a previous district that I was in. Laura had heard about it from her group of librarians. And so February break, we're like, we're gonna do this. So initial meeting, we dove into the Read to Them site, which is where we had the resources and information to jumpstart this initiative. We brainstormed some student, family, and community engagement ideas and activities. We created a reading schedule for the entire school. We had provided some teasers and hints, so the staff nor the students knew what book we were going to be reading.
Nobody knew.
So we kept it a secret, but provided a lot of teasers throughout the building on the morning announcements. And so students were starting to guess. Did the two of you guess what book it was before we announced it? Did you know what it was? And then at our all-school meeting in March, we announced the book. And The kids were super excited. We handed out all the books that day, and we started reading. We decorated the hallways with the posters to really engage everybody. We communicated the schedule out to our staff at staff meetings, the all-school meetings we shared we were doing, and then emails out to parents with attachments and activities that they could do as well. So here's an example of our reading schedule. So it was week by week, so many pages, so many chapters that were encouraged. Daily announcements in our morning meetings to include what the pages were for that week, some comprehension questions from the previous week's reading. Our weekly message, when you walk into Sandown North, we have a weekly message that we share with the community. And so in that message, we reminded them, hey, these are the chapters we're reading this week. How's it going? Mrs. Diffio, our literacy specialist, changed out the weekly trivia questions at our local businesses. So anytime the students went, every week it was new questions and new places. Announced in the morning, announcements on Mondays were raffle winners from every grade level. And then classroom and UA teachers participated in some read alouds and connected projects and activities to the book. And then student and family basket raffles are going to take place at our last all-school meeting. Do you guys want to add anything to some of the things that we did?
No.
And
So here's an example, Triple Elm raffle. So they had a copy of the book, the raffle tickets, and then the staff at Triple Elm had the questions. Did the two of you visit any of the places? Do you want to talk a little bit about what that experience was like going into there and getting asked questions about the book?
They made me go every day.
When I went in there, I was kind of nervous because I didn't know if I would get it wrong or not. But when I did, I got it right. It felt good.
I had quite a few students also say that they didn't know some of the businesses, even though we announced it on a constant basis that we're doing it. They walk in and they saw that and they were like, oh, tickets. Questions.
So there's an example of the trivia raffle basket. So we had a basket for every grade level. Students spent the entire week dropping off tickets as they would get them at the different locations. And then every Monday we'd raffle off a basket, a robot basket. That inside had a book, bookmarks, very robotic themed keychains, all sorts of things for them to take home with them.
So then we did a family bingo as well. So the families all took this home and they could fill out, do a blackout, fill out the entire bingo card, or do a bingo and do a row. And once they got that done, they brought it back to us. And we will be pulling out a family bingo winner at our last all-school meeting as well. So many different things on here that they could do that involve part of the book, along with other community activities, along with family participation, different activities that they had to do as a family. So they all had to get involved in it. And we have quite a few that turned them in. And we'll find out next week, I think it is,
No.
who our bingo winners will be. You guys do bingo?
no.
What was that? You didn't get a bingo? Oh, we'll have to work on bingo tonight then.
So there's close your eyes. There's the raffle prizes, the student raffle prize on the left, and then the family bingo that we'll be giving out again, book themed, literacy themed, family themed for family time. And thanks to the PTA, our PTA, for helping to create that basket with us.
So all of the specials, the UAs, did different activities during their times, either during sixth special or during our classes that tied in. So these are some examples of art activities that our art teacher, Miss Currier, did. You can see some of the first grade classes that Bright Bill is one of the characters. They also created tinfoil raws, robot collages. This group created sculptures. Third graders created white charcoal robots. And others created the fox from the story. This was during innovations. They initially collaborated using materials to create scenes from the book using all various, they were so creative with this. I couldn't believe it when I saw the things that they did. So that was amazing. And then they had a robot challenge where they had to create a robot that had one skill and they had specific materials, and these are all of them on display. We just had our integrated arts night last night, and that was one of the things that was on display for the parents to see. And then, so these are 4th grade students that completed the robot challenge, and they loved it so much that they decided to create a commercial. So here you go.
Guys, it's just a number. It is the best art assistant of all time. Okay, order now.
Order. But it's just kind of cool that the kids took the lead in some ways and just, they were like, all right, they took it to the next step. So that was pretty neat. In the library, we had author illustrator David Bedricki visit us. And part of the reason was because of this book that he wrote called Artificial Intelligence. It's a little similar to Roz in that it's about a different kind of robot. So we compared the two books and we talked about, you know, what was the same, what was different. This was with first graders. And then they had the opportunity to create their own robots, which were on display out in the hallway. So these are our little first graders that did some of these.
So then we went and got some feedback from our partners. Mrs. Yasek went and visited with Mrs. Ross, went to visit different our local partners and videotaped their experience with us. And we also did people in the school and a couple students as well. So we're gonna create that.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, this is Laura Yasek, principal of Timberlane Elementary School, and I'm here at Sandown's local post office, who is a business partner for us for our One Book, One School initiative. I have a couple of questions for them. So let them introduce themselves.
Okay, I'm Caroline, I'm acting postmaster here for now. My name is Ashley, I am the current clerk.
Money?
Yes.
Wonderful. Can you share your experience as a business partner who supported our One Book, One School initiative over here?
I thought it was a lot of fun with just all the games that were coming in. The kids too, they were very excited. So it was just a pleasant experience. It was fun. Guys talking with our customers. I mean, yeah, so fun. I second that, it's especially nice because it's improved engagement with especially the kids that come to the post office. It's not very exciting. Parents reason to talk to us. They got us a chance to interact with more people in the community. It was very cool. My name is Miss Becca. I am the Youth Services Librarian here at Sandown Public Library over in our Blockbuster corner. I just wanted to let the school board know that the One School, One Book program was a phenomenal success, both as a parent and a first grader, but also in our library. We were one of the locations that families and kids had to come in and answer questions, collect tickets. As somebody who enjoyed the book personally, I was really excited to engage with even more people than we usually do. This definitely got more than just our regular patrons. You've got families coming in, the aunts, the uncles, and grandparents. They're all hands on deck to get these tickets for the kids, and the kids were really engaged with it. If they didn't know the answer, it was awesome to have a book there. They could get an answer, and everybody seemed to have a really good time with it, including us. So we say, do it some more.
My name is Dave Valens. I'm the owner of Love Coffee and Ice Cream, and I was a business partner for this pretty cool idea that Sandown North had. The employees got involved in it. They got excited when somebody came in with their kids, and kids came up and were really excited to answer the question that was presented to them. It was really cool that most of the kids knew exactly what the answers were. Some struggled with it, and what was really cool is that they went back and kind of researched a little bit, came back again and got the answer right.
Would you be willing to partner with our school again next year if you bring a new book?
Yeah, this is something we would like to see happen every year. Like I said, the employees got excited also, but it was just great to see the kids come in and be part of this.
It was just a really fascinating
experience, I guess, to see the different levels of kids that came in and the different levels of engagement. I think it was interesting to see the level of comprehension. Some kids would, come in and be able to answer the question right away, and other kids, they had to go and flip through the book to find the answer. And some kids that were being read to weren't always, getting the question, the parents had to kind of help them. Would you be willing to partner with our school again next year? Definitely, it was really fun, and I loved seeing all the kids.
Hi, I'm Sandy Gerzak. I work in the office at Sandown North, and I'd like to share my experience with the One Book, One School. We had a great time in the office. The kids would come in with all their tickets to put them in the raffles. They were excited. They were happy. I even had students at lunch duty ask me, can you give me a question? So they could earn more tickets. I had a few friends come in the morning and ask for questions. So it was a lot of fun. The kids really enjoyed it, and I did too.
And should we do this next year?
I think we should. Yeah, I think it was a blast, and I think it was great for community building and great for our school.
I'm Leah, and I'm a fourth grader at St. Anne North. And I'm here to share my experience about the Wild Robot Escapes. It's really sweet. It shares a family story. It's definitely a children's book. I really love it. Peter Brown's books are really good. I went to all places you go to get tickets, and all the answers were so fun. They were very tricky, but at the same time were really fun. You got to guess what happened and is that true or is it fake? Stuff like that. And I thought it was really fun. And I definitely think that a lot of people should read this because this book is awesome. Hi, my name is Eliana. I am in second grade, and my teacher is Miss Amanda.
Did you enjoy reading the school-wide book?
Yes.
All right, what did you like about it?
I like that Rod's hard to find for me.
Did you visit any places in town to get tickets?
Bracchetti's, Triple Elms, and the library and the post office.
And then what did you do with the tickets after you got them?
Then I went to the office and I put them in to the little bucket for second grade.
Did you win the raffle?
No.
Do you know some other second graders that won the raffle?
Yes.
And were they excited to win the raffle?
Yeah.
Would you recommend that we do this again next year with a different book?
Yes. My name is Jackie Dusty. I am one of the fifth graders in this class.
Jackie, did you enjoy reading the school-wide book?
Yes. The Wild Robot Escapes is a good book, and my entire family a lot.
What did you like about it?
I liked that Ross was different from the other robots, even though robots are the same.
Can you tell me a little bit about your family's participation in the family bingo activities that we connected to the book?
We found some things that to belong to my mom. We played hide and seek. Two truths and a lie. We read a chapter in Pajamas. We had book characters. One robot. And interviewed us. We had a family board game night. We took a hike. We shared childhood memories. And we talked about fire safety.
Wonderful. With your sister also reading the book because she's a second grader here at our school, is there anything that the two of you did together?
We started building a robot. I did its body and legs so far, and its hair.
Would you recommend that we do this activity again with another book next year?
Yes, I think you should use the Wild Robot text. I did fourth grade in this in summer class. I am in this class.
Did you enjoy reading the school-wide book, The Wild Robot Escapes? What did you like about it?
That I would feature and things and that we could all together. I am.
Are there activities that you did in school connected to the book?
Yeah, we made things in the beach books, these are the samples. And we did some art, like we drew some characters in the book, and like the right middle one.
Can you tell me a little bit about how your family participated in the family bingo activities that were connected with the book?
Yeah, we always and we like to make forts together.
Would you recommend that we do an all school, all book again? Yeah. Any specific recommendations?
A lot of
Good afternoon, is it?
All right, so we provided you with all of these. I'm just gonna highlight a couple of feedback that we received from staff and families. We sent a survey out to families after we finished and completed the book. One of the questions we asked was, what was the best part of the one school, one book experience? Having siblings who are several years apart, having a common bond. As a family, getting to talk about the book together was something we really enjoyed. I love not only reading the book as a family, but also all the discussions and connections we made in the community as well. It was so fun to hear my 2nd and 5th graders talking about the same book. We read parts of the book together. My daughter read in her class, and my son had his first experience of reading a novel for school independently. The dedication my child had towards reading during this period. It created a bond between my son's classroom and family. My son was excited to always wanted to read to catch up or get ahead. He shared stories of what his classmates thought of the book, and we loved the book as well, so it was special for us to sit down and read it together. We even read it every night on our vacation. That was great. Reading with my son nightly and talking about the book together. I loved that all students were connected with this book. The kids especially loved the trivia questions. Seeing the students excited about the book and building our class community. And then we asked for suggestions and any other comments to share there. And some suggestions, an audiobook option. Sitting down as a family with a book isn't always ideal, but listening while we make dinner or while in the car is something we can easily participate in. I think you should continue picking great books like this one. We appreciated the book so much more because there is a Wild Robot movie. So we felt more connected to it and spent more time thinking about each character in the movie because we read the book. If possible, I think planning the book to a good movie out is really cool, and I think families would enjoy the experience even more if it was a similar situation. Suggestion, an all-school event with trivia. It made us make extra trips to the library, which was great. The kids wanted to check out more books once we were in the library. Never thought my kids would be so excited to go to the town hall. I think it was really sentimental for my son to have this experience with his class and family at the same time. Maybe cross-grade projects, and then maybe consider a summer book for families. So some really great suggestions.
This was something that our 3rd grade did. It was how the 3rd grade felt about the activity. Mostly likes. They liked that they got a new free book. They liked that everyone was reading the same thing. It says as a school community, they all liked it. If they finished early, they could answer more questions and potentially win more prizes. They liked reading together at home. So just a lot of good feedback too, even from our students as well.
Did you want to share anything about what you liked?
I liked a lot. I didn't really like reading that much, but now that I started reading that, it was really fun because you could put changes for prizes, and I love the Wild Robot because it's a really fun book, and I just really like about it.
I'm sure. Did you guys get to read it together or spend some time together talking about it?
No.
No. I love your honesty.
I asked my sister all the questions, and she got them right.
That's great. That's great. So you helped her with the questions. That's awesome.
I love it.
Things that we learned and want to include next year, because of course the feedback was so wonderful that this is something that we want to continue to do year after year. The opportunities for trivia in the school. Not just at the locations outside the community, but for us we talked about maybe having questions in our pockets when see kids in the hallway to ask those questions. We'd like to include Sandown Central next year and have our kindergartners and pre-K and preschool kids involved. Student stat voice in the book choice. So we chose the book the first time around being brand new, but we're going to ask for students and staff to give some voice and choice in that book selection next year. Really, a good goal is 2 books next year. Maybe do one the first half of the year and then another book the second half of the year. And I really like the idea of the summer suggestion.
I liked that as well. Yeah, that'd be.
I love reading, can you tell? Finding authors that will allow us to read, record staff and community members reading chapters aloud. This is something we tried, but.
This was a glitch that I didn't foresee. I emailed the author to say, can we have staff members read chapters of the book to upload just to our school website? And they were like, it contractually, no. And I was surprised, but so I said, well, okay, next year we'll make sure that we choose someone that we can do that with, or have the audio option, like maybe on Sora or something like that, that people can listen that way.
Look at the timeline, revisit the timeline that we scheduled for the book reading. Some feedback was that it was perfect, others was too long,
Little too
short.
long, yeah.
So we're gonna revisit that. And then an evening event for families, like a trivia night where they all come in and we do something fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about it.
That's
it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Question for you two, the readers, real fast. Did you find, I saw that you had to read, or it was suggested you read so many pages for 1 week, so many pages for the next week. Did you find that when you were reading it, you wanted to keep on reading? Was the pace too fast or too slow for you? Too fast.
I kind of got ahead a little more because I'm going.
But you don't like to read.
That's a good thing. That means they probably hit it just right. A little too fast, a little too slow.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was a great experience for everybody. Thank you.
That's the tricky part, finding a book that's, good for everybody.
This is a question for a more admin side. Is there any way to get like homeschooled kids involved in this?
We actually did. I'm glad you brought that up. We did have a family that reached out to us. We provided them with the book. The student went to the local places, dropped raffle tickets off at the school, and he actually won one of our raffles one week.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so yes, definitely. That's great.
Anybody else?
So it looked like a really long book. Did the first graders mostly have it read to them, either in school or at home?
Yes, so I think most of the first grade teachers read it in school, and parents were also reading it at home as well. So both, they got it both ways.
And even at dismissal, as all the kids are sitting in the lunchroom getting ready to go out, there's a group that's huddled in the corner, and an older kid is reading it to all the younger ones. It's pretty fun to watch.
I love that.
Thank you for coming here tonight and telling us
Thank
about
you very
this
much.
very cool idea that happened at your school this year. You guys are pretty brave to be in a room talking to all of us about reading and being honest about reading.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Sandown North.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's let the record show the audience applauded Mr. Woodworth's arrival.
Point of order. Could Don explain to us why he's late?
I don't know.
Moving on.
Maybe in other business.
So it's the end of the year in our schools, and if you've been in our schools, they are really busy places. So we'll echo that for the board tonight. We have a second presentation for you. We have some middle school students and staff with us here tonight. I'm going to take a brief moment, if I could, and just set the framework and review for the board what you've had experiences with these groups of students before. Many of these students have been before the school board before. And they have worked over the course of the last 2 years on culture and climate committee meetings at their school level. They've participated in youth participatory action research where they have gathered data, analyzed that data with teacher leaders and admin leaders in their buildings, given some analysis to that, and then made some conclusions and determinations about how they are going to champion and make their schools better places that value the individual experiences of students. They're here tonight to present to you some of their key findings along that journey and perhaps asking you how you can, as a board, continue to support their work. I know Mr. Mensis has a very ultra brief introduction, and then we'll start talking with some students.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for taking some time with us tonight. Really brief introduction because Initially, some teacher leaders were like, we'd love to share all this information with the school board member. So we love public speaking. And then the kids heard about the presentation and said they want to take charge. This is really all about the kids. So they are going to deliver this presentation and talk to you about all the awesome work they've been up to. So, take it over.
I'm Jalen Hazelton. I'm in 7th grade. I'm on team 7B, and I'm from Sandown, New Hampshire. And I'm in both the groups, Hearts United and Student Reps. Our House of Representatives was formed in fall of 2023, and we established a group with help of guidance and TM and Dr. Preble. Since then, we've welcomed incoming 6th graders and a few additional 7th graders.
My name is Chloe. I'm from Plastow, New Hampshire. I'm on Team 6C and I'm part of the House of Reps. The student representatives participated in team bonding and leadership exercises this year.
I'm Hayden Simmons. I'm in 7th grade. I'm from Plastow, and I'm in both Hearts United and Student Representatives. As a group, we asked our community of parents, students, and staff to take a survey. We looked at the results and analyzed the data.
Hello, my name is Jackson Hester. I am on Team 7A. I am from Danville, New Hampshire, and I am in both Hearts United and the Student Representatives. So as our student representatives, we made posters of the 6 domains from our survey. We analyzed the data, we discussed the areas with the greatest need for improvement, and from there, we determined the 3 domains that we would focus on as a group: building relationships, safety, and discipline. I believe that is a picture of a team building activity.
Yeah.
Tori, were you there for that?
I was right there.
That was in 2024.
I'm Ralph. I'm Ralph Cloud. I'm from Danville. I'm in 6th grade on C team. Some of the things that we did were we created some goals for our group. I personally wasn't here for this. I came in a bit later. But some of the things that I have learned about were some of the things that we were trying to achieve were making others feel safe, creating better relationships between teachers and students, making diverse students feel respected, equality, diverse for gender, helping kids and adults feel respected and treated well by another, working hard and inspire others, and reduce racism.
Student reps, we created a positivity post office, which is basically a post office for the middle school, and it's for both students and teachers to give out positive notes and letters to each other, to send to each other. And I guess, you guys are probably all wondering, is this all appropriate? Well, yeah, it is. There's no inappropriate stuff going on. We have teachers monitoring this, so don't worry.
Slogan for this. Spreading positivity, one letter at a time. That's my slogan for this.
We also made a positivity posts tracker. So far, we have sent out 763 letters and counting.
One of the things that we did was we created a suggestion box for each grade to let students have a voice in their opinion being spread. We haven't had many ideas being spread yet or anything being put into the boxes, but they're there if anybody wants to have a suggestion or wants to change something in their grade or on their team.
To address discipline, a behavior chart was created to ensure all students were aware of consequences of unexpected behavior. This was centered around our core values: respect, responsibility, and right choices.
We created and hung posters to remind all students to be careful with words. They have the power to harm or uplift.
So on to Hearts United. So Ms. Sarney was at one of Dr. Preble's meetings, and she became really inspired by his ideas and everything he was working on. So she wanted to create her own club, which is Hearts United. And basically, student reps is like where you get picked into the club, but this is like open to anybody to join. And our main goal is to spread kindness, and we're trying to lower the amount of racism, bullying, all negative stuff, and we're trying to raise positivity, just spread kindness in general.
We even were interviewed by NHPR, New Hampshire Public Radio, about our plans for student reps and Hearts United, and there's a picture of all of us.
This club is for students who want to use their voice and talents to make our school a more safe and welcoming place for everyone, spreading and highlighting kindness and celebrating our differences. I joined this club because I wanted to make our school a safe community for everyone to feel included and be able to participate in different activities.
I joined this club because I was already part of student representatives, and then we came to this meeting one day, and there were some people who I knew weren't in student representatives. So I was like, "Hey, is there another club that's supposed to be here?" And I didn't say it in the meeting, sorry. I asked them, and they said, "Oh, I'm part of Hearts United." I was like, "Hearts United? What's that?" So I decided to join this club as like a continuum, because student reps, it already felt amazing being part of student reps. I thought I could take it a little further to be in Hearts United and spread more kindness and positivity around our school. Alright, so May is Asian American and Pacific Islander.
You got it.
Okay, thank you. Islander Heritage Month. We had some pictures up around the school, as in that picture, some celebrities. And so the students who identify as Asian American or Pacific Islander, they could feel better about themselves, because look how far these people have come in life. You can also be as successful as them. You can be successful in life. We also have Tigers Around the World, which is for all of the students at TRMS. We have different countries and places where people are from, and we want to include that diversity in our school. So as you can see, there's a clipboard next to the map. The clipboard has different, you can write your name, and then you can write where you come from, and boom, the pin is on the map of where you and your family come from. Hearts United has also spread kindness posters around the school, such as one right there, Be Kind to All. And yeah, we're planning to do more projects in the future.
These are some of our projects. So, I mean, as all of us kids, we love social media. And, in our first meeting, we're like, we got to make a social media account. So we created an Instagram account called Hearts United TRMS. Maybe guys after this meeting can give us a follow. We created a logo and a slogan, BKTE, which stands for Be Kind to Everyone.
We did some team building exercises with Dr. Pebble and TM, same day that they did some student rep stuff. We did the USC Speak Your Mind Ice Bucket Challenge twice. We did it the first time, but not everyone was there. So, and hey, BKTE, be kind to everyone. Let them have fun too.
We had students vote on the kindest student for each grade level, and we also gave bracelets to teachers to hand out to students.
I'm a 7th grade student. I've been to a meeting here before, but in one of those meetings, my mom talked about a quote here, the one with the Martin Luther King one, and our call to action is to really spread kindness and to be an upstander. And you never really know what people are going through. And the quote down there is one that my mom said in her speech back in November 21st, 2024. And it's just, words have a lot of power. Be wise with them.
That's it.
That's one. Thank you all. I was impressed with how many letters of kindness went out, and I was fortunate enough to hear the NPR interview. So I know that some went to staff, and it affected them greatly. Obviously, others went to students. If any one of you received one of those letters of kindness, I'm not going to ask what was in it, but would you care to share how it made you feel and how it altered your day or perception?
You can go first.
I think it's important for students to have a relationship with a teacher, just at least one person at the school. I have a really good relationship. I know my mom works at the school, but, I'm really close to some other teachers. One of the teachers sent me a letter just asking about, I think we had SAS testing, how it went and everything. It just really touched me because I know someone was thinking about me that day, sent me out a letter and just brightened up my day.
That's awesome.
So if you all remember, there was a school musical, Honk Jr. So some people here were in this, or in the play. Specifically one who is here. She can choose to reveal herself if she wants to. She sent me. She sent me a letter, and it really made my entire day. She even drew a little picture because she played my mom in the play.
Let's not identify
She
her,
played my
right?
mom. She played my mom in the play. I am a grade older than her, so it's kind of funny.
Okay, Anastasia.
We will not forget. We will not be forgetting Anastasia. I'm sorry. Anyways, so she had one of the songs, "Hold Your Head Up High." She had on the letter. She had "Hold Your Head Up High." She just had the lyrics on there, and it really touched my heart because I was really nervous about the performance. And it really made my day. Thank you to that person. I will still not be revealing.
Already kinda did.
Gee, I wonder who this.
Anybody else?
If I could add one thing, so as we were talking about this presentation and the call to action slide came up, we asked them all a question because they wanted to kind of give their opinion about what as a school board can do to help this work continue. So they asked if they could share each one thing about their own call to action or request of the school board to hear them out. You guys remember what we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
I remember.
So we could try to go right. I know Tori was at
I can come up
softball.
with something right now.
I feel like you can. Ross, wanna go first?
Sure. I thought it'd be cool if, since the school board is involved in all the schools, if you guys could like spread the word about what we're doing and spread it to maybe like the elementary schools so that some younger kids can get like an earlier start, and just the younger the kids, the more it'll implant in their brain to the point where when they get to middle school it'll be already there and they'll be able to join this and feel comfortable. Because I know I'm a little nervous about like joining this club, so I feel like if they started younger, it would be much easier to come to middle school and be able to do this. I think it'd be really cool. And if we could
Excellent.
For me, for this group, I just think like two things. One, maybe like put us on the radar, spread the word. But the second thing is you guys maybe like once a month, maybe next year, some of you guys can come down to middle school and we can share some ideas based off of each other of what we can do, what we can't do, try to brainstorm and like make this community a better place.
So as I think Mr. mentioned, we were talking about this prior to this meeting. Ralph and Jalen's speeches I agree with every single thing in them. I think, yes, we should get this more out, because I go up to people and they're like, I talked about student reps and they may say, what is student representatives? A lot of people don't know about what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish with our goals. So I think that, yes, we should have a little bit more involvement in our school. We should have, I agree with Jalen, you guys should probably come down and see us. We can discuss. But I also think for future projects, because we may be able to get some guest speakers in, we may be able to get to choose said guest speaker. We can do so many projects with just a little bit of money.
There's the pitch.
No, we're not asking for $1 million.
So I wrote down the dollar sign.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. We don't even need that much. Just
Dollar
like,
sign,
just
come on
a
in.
little bit.
That was the tamed down version of going like this.
Got it. Gotta make it rain.
I think it would be good if we could sometimes go down to the elementary schools and like tell them about what we're doing, like have a little presentation on what we've done and what we want to do.
My idea on it was the support we need can even just be you guys continuing to give us the creative freedom, just giving us the space to work as students, because it is very helpful showing what we have accomplished, what we have been able to come up with to do for our school.
I think that everyone really covered it. It's really great. And I think that maybe more people should become more involved with this, because I know like a couple of teachers they like don't really know what it's all about. Like they go to some of the meetings and stuff, but they don't really understand what we're actually trying to do and why we're out of class for so long and what we're trying to do. And I think that I feel like that it's a great way how we're starting it right now and how we already started it and how we're continuing. And I feel like that more kids, the way that we like selected them was a great way. And that we really like, I love how it's an open club like the Hearts United, and it's just perfect.
Could I just share something with this group, Mark, about you guys? A lot of you talked about radar and kind of spreading the word and things. I've shared this with the school board, but it's important to share with you folks that like, if you think about a map of New Hampshire and you carve out the south central portion of it, there's about 20 school districts in that area. I would share with you that those school districts are watching these meetings and specifically taking these conversations we're having with you as groups and showing it to their admin teams in at least 4 of those school districts, because they're interested in having these same conversations and they're using you and your words and what you're saying to the school board as an impetus to kind of kickstart that conversation in their own district. So like, not only do we need to spread the word here, and these folks will certainly champion that, but for you guys to know it's spreading the word across the state of New Hampshire and the region. So you're having impacts that you have no conception or recollection of right now. But I wanted to point that out to you.
So, wow, I have so much to say, but I'm gonna try and reel it in a little bit. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being so brave. I remember feeling this emotional when the Lombards came. I remember feeling emotional when Dr. Preble challenged this school board to hear the voices of what is happening in our schools. And the power of positivity is limitless. You've shown us that here today. So Dr. Preble challenged us. You guys have come here to challenge us. And so now I am going to give my own call to action of this school board. So we have committees of the school board. And so all of us are assigned to go to different types of committees to be involved in the district. So some of us work on developing policies, some of us work on budget, some of us work on facilities. And so I'm going to challenge this school board to create an ad hoc committee where one of us will be attending your meetings. Would you be interested in having one of us come to your regular meetings to be part of this? Because what happens at the board level is when we go to these committee meetings, we come back to board meetings and we report out on what is happening. And that would help you spread the word. How do you feel about that idea?
That would be fantastic.
I feel kind of like that's a lot of information, and I love it. I love the energy. The energy is exactly what we need. I would love that. Thank you very much.
So what I'd like to know is, who can we get that information from? Since it really seems like this is a student-driven project, I could very easily call Mr. Mensis tomorrow and ask him for this, but I would like to communicate with a student, if that's okay, if I can get Mr. Mensis my email address and can hear from one of you guys about when the meeting is, I will facilitate amongst the board members to try and make sure that somebody is there to participate in this with you.
I have a suggestion about that. I mean, I think we should get the jazz trombonist who did a little solo yesterday at the concert to do that. It was really phenomenal. I thought with that expression, all that, you'd be the person to contact.
Okay.
We'll see if they're interested.
I think. Okay, guys, we all know it's me. Okay, I know it's me.
Listen, buddy, I wasn't gonna shout you out, but Jalen
feel
knows how to get in touch with me. So does Toria. So
I would very much appreciate that. I can get you connected with everyone. I'm already a treasurer of the club, so I know.
So I hope that, because and I did write a big dollar sign for you, buddy. Don't worry, it's
thank you.
literally right there.
Thank you so much.
But I know Bree and I were both writing down everything that you're saying, and so I just want to commend you for showing so much strength and maturity, being here and doing everything that you're doing in your own school community, and you have our full support.
Thank you. Words do matter. We are hearing your words. Yes, Bree.
Just 2 quick questions, maybe 3. Do you know when your next meeting is? Not quite, alright?
Hearts United, unfortunately, since it's the end of the school year, Hearts United is over, unfortunately.
So next year we'll.
Well, it's over until the next year.
Alright.
It's not done.
Right, okay, Miss Arnie said yes, it's fine.
Looking for a September date, got it. And then,
Probably September.
have you guys thought about reaching out to the elementary school, student councils? I think that would be a great contact point to try to
I
collaborate.
don't think we have, but I think Chloe was talking about like our elementary schools.
We're discussing.
And
Sounds like that's a good idea.
I think that's a great idea. Okay, look, I said good. No, he said good.
Just
I said
because we're all trying to have actionable items here, right? So I would love to see if you guys could maybe do like a kindness raffle each month where maybe teachers or members of Hearts United, when they see an act of kindness in the school, enter someone's ticket into a raffle. And so that you get hopefully more buy-in from everyone. And you could maybe see that wave throughout the school.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Great.
Inspire more people to be kind.
Yes, because that's what I hear. We need to inspire more.
Marianne?
So I have a question. I don't remember if any of you said you're in the 8th grade.
I don't think so.
The oldest that there is me.
How old are you?
6th and 7th grade.
6 and 7 and 14.
When?
We have 8th graders for the
Jackson, my birthday's November.
Okay, so Tori, okay.
Okay, so we do.
Now I don't know.
So,
We do.
I just know I'm young.
okay, so the reason I was
Eighth
asking,
graders that work with us.
the reason I was asking is, it would be whether they have expectations of carrying this through to the high school.
I know a lot of 8th graders that have gone like through it since they were in 6th grade and are interested. And wait, what is the thing called at the high school? It's a
Culture and Climate Club?
Climate and
Climate
Culture Change Club. Like I know a lot of us like that are in the 8th grade up there. They're really excited for that, and I can't wait to learn more. I wish one thing that I wish we would learn, like we'd figure out more, is how they do it at the high school, because us 6th graders, 7th graders who just joined, like who might not be able to do it up in like 8th grade, but able to do it up in high school, I might want to get the chance to like figure out what would happen up in high school and how they're changing it.
So maybe you could ask your 8th grade members before the school ends to bring something back to you in the fall, about how the high school has stuff
So
set up.
to recall back to you, I don't know your name by chance, sorry.
It's okay. Mrs. Woodward.
Ms. Woodward, so
There's a
your
lot of
last
us.
comment, what you said was, the raffles and all that stuff, so we already kinda have something, we're doing that, thanks for reminding me of that. It's called, we do teen time, so like every couple months, our teams will meet. And I know for my team, 7Bs, it's called a bee's knees, where someone's doing an act of kindness, you write their name, you put it in a jar, and then at team time you will pick a random name person, and whoever gets selected gets a little prize. And perfect, yeah. But I hope that we can spread that to the whole school, not just a couple teams. So.
I think that is a great idea. I am personally, I am on a team. Unfortunately, we don't have that. But I think that is a great idea, Jalen. I think we can spread that to the other teams, and
It sounds like you have a lot to discuss amongst yourselves.
I would say yes, very much so.
Mr. Sapia?
Yeah.
Only team that doesn't have it.
Okay, guys, first of all, I didn't get a letter of kind. I didn't get a letter. Don't send me.
Go check your
What's
P.O.
that?
box.
I'll send you one because I haven't gotten one
I
yet.
need a letter this week, all right?
I'll send you one. Don't worry.
How about you write one to me and I write one to you?
All right.
Start the chain.
Why am I negotiating?
She's good.
Here's the deal.
Deal or no deal?
I'm gonna put
Deal or
a
no
slightly
deal.
different spin on this. I think it's a shame you guys have to do any of this. Because we have a zero bullying policy in this school. And I have a personal vested interest in some of the other subject matters which you guys speak to. I think this is more of a disciplinary action. And let me ask you this, don't you remember, because I remember when my children went through the academy, every year it was kindness, it was respect, it was all those things. So where's the disconnect between the middle school and what you learned? I mean, I'm assuming you all learned that same stuff in your respective schools that you went to, right?
Yes.
And relative to dollar signs, I just want to reassure you, there are a lot of support mechanisms within the district, like Life of an Owl, like sports is another one, right? That creates a climate and culture like performing arts that create that. And we have about a $50 million+ a year salary of people that are experts in making sure that you guys are taken care of. And if you're not, then I want to know. I don't think anyone in this district should walk from class to class or into a bathroom feeling uncomfortable or in fear. And if there is, then that problem needs to be solved. And I'd probably solve it a little bit differently than some of the people in this room, because I'm a little bit more of a disciplinarian on the side of things. It's kind of the school I went to, where there were consequences for your actions. That's something for the board to discuss at a later date, but I appreciate you folks coming in here.
He needs a letter.
It's fine.
Put him at ease. Ease his pain.
I spent a lot of time in the principal's office as a student.
They're doing
But
their role.
there is a tremendous amount of support. I've known the staff. I've been around this place for about 20 years plus as a parent, as a school board rep, and as a coach. There are a lot of really good people in this district that have your back. And I think every student should walk away feeling that way. And if you don't, you pick up the phone and call me. I'll make sure it gets right. Okay?
Thank you guys for coming here, guys and gals. Thank you for what you do and for partnering with the people behind you who care for you. And again, just reiterating what Mr. Krieger had said, some of the things that you are doing here do have ripple effects that you will be unaware of. That letter that somebody may or may not have sent to you or somebody else, you don't know what long-term impacts that has. So thank you for this initiative. Thank you for your work and being involved to make the Timberlane community a better place for everybody. Thank you.
See you later. Good luck with
It's still whoever can go to a meeting, like even if it's. Because the thing is, it's so like this, now that I know, right?
For graduation, my husband's playing drummer.
If we could all dial in and take a look at our meetings minutes from the last meeting, 5:23.
Make a motion to approve the school board meeting minutes from May 23rd, 2025.
I'll second that.
Those in favor? Opposed? I was in favor. Abstentions? No discussions? Sorry, out of order there, Bree. Any typos? No? All set. Now for the non-public, please.
Make a motion to accept the non-public meeting minutes from May 23rd, 2025.
Any discussion? Those in favor? Yes, you do have a question?
Give us another minute too.
Absolutely.
I'm not that fast.
Sure waited for a second too there, Co-Chair.
Thank you.
Fastest reader. Okay. That's okay.
Is everybody set with the non-public? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes from 5/23/25.
Second.
Second by Bree. All those in favor? Opposed? No abstentions. Thank you very much. Okay. Delegates and individuals, do we have any? Okay, we'll move that to the end.
Make a
Excellent.
motion to move the remaining minutes for delegates and individuals to the end of the meeting.
Second.
Got you, buddy.
See,
Got
it's
you.
all a team. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions. Thank you, kiddo.
It's not easy to be Katie.
Depends on the court.
Mark, you're doing well.
Mr. Krieger?
Yeah, so
Would you like
we
to make
have a new student representative. I think we nominated, or not nominated, but informed you of last meeting that he was elected to the position. Typically, Cam would not be here until September. However, he is eager to begin. He has a report for you tonight, and we're ready to hear what you got to say, Cam. Welcome to the team.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Krieger. So here at the high school, we just had Science National Honor Society courting and inductions, as well as our AP student share-outs, where they presented scientific posters to friends and family. We had our music awards night, our drama awards night, our final jazz band concert, and today the seniors just started their finals, so good luck to them. Coming up, we have.
That's pretty ominous.
Yeah. Hey, some of those classes aren't easy.
That'll be you next year.
Sad, yeah. Coming up, we have junior and senior scholarship and awards nights, as well as introducing the new Milkmen team for next year. At the middle school, the 7th grade students wrapped up their MAD, Make a Difference project, sharing their desire to bring awareness to make a positive change to our world. Thank you to all the parents that came in to check out these amazing projects. The 8th graders held their annual celebration of the spoken word at the Performing Arts Center. Student poets performed their poetry in front of their peers, parents, and teachers. 7th grade Rocky Shores field trip. Students enjoyed a beautiful day on the New Hampshire coastline, connecting with what they learned in class about tide pools and exploring as a marine biologist. Students found starfish, 3 different types of crabs, plant life, so many more things. And they were able to reflect and connect them back to what they had learned in class. 6th grade students kicked off their ELA research project with a special guest, Senora Hampy, acting as a Titanic survivor. She gave a firsthand account of the tragic sinking. And then the senior buddies from the Vic Geary Center came to visit the students during lunchtime. They sat in the cafeteria and chatted with many of the students. Everyone had a great time. Good luck to all the TRMS sports teams for making their respective playoff runs. At Pollard, we had a very successful field day last Friday. Thank you to the PTA and all of the volunteers who helped run it. A special thanks to Nurse Kate and Miss Silva for organizing the entire thing. In conjunction with Plastow Public Library, we had our summer reading kickoff program Tuesday, June 3rd. We're looking forward to having our seniors back so we can celebrate them on June 13th. At Danville, our annual field day was held last Friday and was a huge success. A big thank you to Mrs. Ford for coordinating everything and to our many volunteers who were on site to make it happen. Students in kindergarten through 5th grade are completing their spring iReady benchmark testing right now, and we are very excited to see the growth they have made throughout the year. Grade 5 celebration will be taking place on Tuesday, June 17th, starting at 5 p.m. in the Danville Gymnasium. Sandown Central, tomorrow, June 6th, our kindergarten students will be visiting North as they will be leaving the central community at the end of this school year. Today, we rocked with Steve Blunt. Steve performed 2 amazing performances for staff and students. Thank you to our PTA for the donation of summer pinwheels for all of our students. At Sandown North, our Girls on the Run had their 5K celebration on Saturday with about 3,000 participants in attendance. They were approached by the executive director for Girls on the Run New Hampshire to sing the national anthem since the Concord High School singers who were scheduled to sing the national anthem were stuck in traffic. So the Sandown North girls who were in chorus went up on stage and joined Miss Yankowskis in leading the Star-Spangled Banner. What a proud moment for our girls. Our integrated arts night was Wednesday, June 4th. This included art show, interventions, PE, robotics showcases, book fairs, and students performing with recorders. That's always fun. It was a great family night for all. We look forward to our end of the year celebrations and step up activities. On Friday, June 6th, kindergarten will be visiting the north and grade 5 students will be visiting the middle school. Our school-wide field day will be held on Monday, June 16th. And fifth graders will be having their celebration and clap out day for the seniors on the last day of school. At Atkinson, our Girls on the Run had their 5K with, again, 3,000 participants in attendance. Thank you to our team and especially our volunteer coaches for making this happen again for our Atkinson children. Several authors, including Marty Kelly, David, I'm not gonna try that last name, Steve Blunt and Rob Bouye, visited the school over the past month, speaking with students about their books, writing process, and just the whole thing. And thanks to Mrs. Toth, the librarian, for coordinating these visits. Our school is buzzing with activities this month, with plays in kindergarten and third grade, second grade publishing presentations. The school-wide enrichment day is June 6th and activities happening throughout the day involving our unified arts teachers and presenters from the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. The grade 5 cardboard arcade is also part of the STEAM Enrich Day. Thank you to Pam Dulong and the Unified Arts staff for planning and developing this day. Grade 5 move-up day is on Monday, June 9th. Our fifth grade students will have the opportunity to visit the middle school to meet with the administration as well as other staff. Grade 5 staff and some families will be hiking Mount Major next Tuesday. Looking forward to having a wonderful hike. Field day is scheduled for June 11th. Thank you to the PE teachers, Mr. Goddard, and coordinating this event every year. We have 80+ family volunteers planning to join us at Atkinson, and grade 5 promotion will be the morning of June 18th. The PTA also is sponsoring a glow dance on June 13th with a royal breakfast on the 19th. The whole school will have a clap out to celebrate our fifth graders on the last day of school.
Wow. So just to let you know, Abby generally never reads all that much, so this is, trial by fire. Fantastic job. Now that you're not reading that dictionary, can you give us 30 seconds about yourself and welcome?
About me, hi, I'm Cam. I'm a part of the drama department at the high school as well as music department. I play the upright bass. I've made classical all-state, and I just am happy to be here to better the community.
Well, thank you.
Cam.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, under current business, naming of facility, TRHS. We all have in our packets, and I'm sure we have reviewed the note that Mr. Brown had sent. Would you like to speak on this?
Sure. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Everybody.
Hey, guys.
Welcome to.
Thanks for having us tonight. This is Tyler Fitzpatrick. Tyler's an assistant coach on the wrestling team. He's a teacher at the high school. We worked together at the high school. Actually coached Tyler when he was in high school. I brought him for some support tonight. He's got a good eye and a keen ear, so I like to have him around. But yeah, I'm here tonight to discuss policy FF. I put in a request to have the naming of the TRHS gymnasium after retired wrestling coach and director of school counseling Barry Children. I put together, and you have in your packet, what is a pretty extensive coaching resume. So I'm not going to review the resume with you unless you'd like me to, but there's a lot to it. I did put together a prepared statement that I'd like to just read highlight some of the things from the coaching resume, and then any sort of questions or you may have, be happy to talk about. I'm here tonight to speak on my request to name the TRHS Gymnasium after retired Director of School Counseling and Wrestling coach Barry Chulgin. You have in front of you a list of accolades that Barry achieved over his long coaching career here at Timberlane. While I won't read for you word for word, as the list is quite long, some of the highlights of his coaching resume include a career record of 614 wins against 52 losses with 5 ties for a career winning percentage of .918. It's a little weird to say over his final 27 years because he coached for so long, but I think it's important to recognize a certain time period. But over his final 27 years, his coaching record against New Hampshire teams, so our NHIA record, was 407 wins and 3 losses over almost 3 decades, good for a winning percentage of .999. And during his final 13 years coaching, his last 180 dual meets, he finished with a record of 180-0. We were very fortunate to have a very long winning streak of over 200 matches that went over close to 15, 16 years. It's pretty impressive. Other accolades include 28 state championship teams, which is a New Hampshire record, 10 New England championship teams, which is a New England record. He was the 2010 National Coach of the Year. He was the 2019 Team USA coach, and he coached 14 high school All-Americans, which is, again, a public school record in in New England, and has been inducted in pretty much every wrestling Hall of Fame from coast to coast. His resume is impressive. However, there is much more to Coach Chu's story and why I feel that the gymnasium, should be named after him. And I'm speaking on behalf of there were a lot of people that went into this as well. This is not just Coach Chulgin. He was the head coach, so but we had a lot of coaches. Coach Woodworth was a part of many of these as well. So I was a part of some of them. So there were a lot of coaches that went into this, but I think we all learned under him. So I think it's important to just recognize he had a team of people helping him. But the naming of the gymnasium is not for him. It's for the hundreds and hundreds of student athletes that he guided over his time at Timberlane. He'll be the first to tell you that it was not about the winning for Coach Chu or the accolades that came with it. That stuff was all really secondary for him and something that wasn't really ever discussed. For Coach, it was about instilling self-confidence and making young people believe in themselves. It was about teaching his athletes how to treat their teammates, treat their coaches, treat their families, and treat their peers. It was about modeling for us how to be a good person, how to pick up our teammates who are struggling. It was teaching us how we all are different, but that we're all capable of being successful. It was about speaking to us on Thanksgiving Eve at practice and telling us, the importance of family and talking to us about looking our parents in the eyes and shaking their hands or hugging someone that was important to us and thanking them for everything that they've done for us in our lives. It was about teaching us, the varsity athletes, to sit Matt's side and watch and cheer for their JV athletes because he preached that everyone on the team mattered. It was about embracing the students with physical or cognitive disabilities and teaching us how to include them and show us that everyone is able to overcome their challenges to be successful. And above all else, which I think will probably resonate with everyone in this room, it was about teaching us that life is hard, but through hard work and perseverance, we are all capable of doing great things in our lives and that our minds and bodies are capable of overcoming anything. There's an entire community of adults, successful adults with families, business owners, military members, tradesmen, that would tell you themselves that they owe much or all of their life success to the lessons that they learned from Coach Chulgin and the wrestling program. Little anecdotal that I did inform him that I was going to do this. And when I informed him that I was submitting a request for the gymnasium to be named after him, he responded exactly how I thought he would, with a shake of the head and the hand up, like, no, I don't need that. I don't want that. And I know he didn't really mean it. What he meant to say was, it's not about me. And I responded, you're right. It's not about you. It's about all of the people who went through the program and they're now successful, that learned under you, and why we are today, where we are today because of you in the wrestling program. And my vision, as you know, I'm currently the head wrestling coach. My vision is to carry the lessons that we all learned about ourselves so that when the future generations of athletes and kids in that gymnasium see his name on the wall and they ask questions, we can pass on those same lessons and teach them that life is hard and that things are not always easy, but that we all have the ability to overcome difficult things and to be successful. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to that. And if you have any questions, myself or Tyler would be happy to answer them.
Jack?
First of all, Coach Brown, thank you very much for being so selfless and bringing this forth before us. I'd like to inform the board, as Shauna knows, a lot of effort and energy got put into creating a policy that was meaningful, that would, in these moments, make us rise to the occasion, if you will, with a certain level of aptitude. Now, I will tell you 3 quick stories. Number one, I had a customer. They moved from Wisconsin. They knew all about the Timberlane wrestling program in Wisconsin. He goes, we had 2 choices, and he said because of our job location, they went to Concord instead. Second one, I was away at in Montana on a fly fishing trip, and someone's son who wrestled for Manchester was not happy that I was part of the Timberlane program. He went off all night long. How could this be? So again, but I think, good coaches win. Any good coach can win if you have the talent. But those virtues that you spoke to what makes a great coach. And obviously the consistency in us running out of wall space for banners in the gym speaks for itself. I get to know Barry very, in a general term, for a short period of time, stand-up guy, but these things and those attributes that you spoke to, this is about turning boys into men and women into ladies in their respective sports. So I appreciate you coming in and sharing all of that with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for either of the coaches? Okay, in that case, open it up to discussion.
Sorry, Tyler, did you wanna have a minute to say anything? I know Tim spoke for both of you. I'm putting you on the spot, but I know you obviously had him as a coach as well.
Yes, I had Coach Chu as a coach. I went to school here. He's a big reason of how it helped me go to college, to go wrestle in college. I went down in South Carolina, and you go down there and people wanted Timberlane gear. They were trying to trade me t-shirts. They knew what Timberlane was about all the way down in South Carolina, but he's a big reason I wanted to come back into the school and help give those lessons back to the other kids, that everybody matters, always believe in a kid, do what's right for them. So he's a big part of the community still today in our program.
Any other questions for the coaches? Yes, Bree.
Very outstanding wrestling resume. Were there any other sports Coach Chulchin taught?
Yeah, actually he did. And Mr. Woodworth may have to chime in. He coached with the football program for a number of years. He coached. Did he do track ever?
No, he was an assistant football coach with Coach Paraso.
Okay.
And actually one of on the first group of coaches that came in with Coach Paraso and helped to build the program into a very successful program.
Any other questions for the coaches? Then we'll have a discussion if there are no more questions for the coaches. Okay, comments?
Yeah, well, I figure I'd make the motion. If not,
I think there should probably be more discussion if anybody wants to weigh in. So I had Coach Chu as a coach as well, and Mr. Donovan, he was my tri-captain at the time. So unfortunately, I cannot claim that I was part of that winning success record when we started. So I understand why there's a bracket of 27 years. I certainly did not. I certainly did not add to that.
You're not part of the hyphen?
I'm not. Yeah,
The dash.
That's right. I'm in the italics. So for me, it's not about winning. It's not about the exemplary record, arguably the most successful wrestling coach in New England, possibly throughout all public high schools in the country. It's about the echoes and the ripple effect from what he was able to instill in his athletes and his team and the culture. And I am hesitant to name a building over, or a part of the building for somebody. I was waffling, I would have been waffling. My son and I still occasionally go to the high school wrestling meets. We went last year and a former student who was assisting the team, he was a student that was not a traditional student, and he had just graduated and came into the stands. When the varsity team saw him in the stands, they all came up and shook his hand and hugged him and were giving him kisses. This would not have happened without a purposeful and intentional direction from the coaching staff, which I think probably emanates from him. So it's not, I will not be supporting this because simply of the unprecedented success, but it's for the climate and the culture that I saw. I did not see that when I was a student there. I gained other valuable pieces of wisdom from what I went through and experienced, but I see that continuing to grow under his tutelage. For that reason, I will be supporting, but anybody else? Sean?
I have one more thing to say after
Oh,
that,
Sean.
before I do that. Oh, you do it.
I'm not sure if the two of you know this, but obviously my son wrestles for both of you. And I'm really proud of him for doing that, but he wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't for the two of you and it wasn't for Coach Chu's Ripple. You've really taught him a lot of mental toughness and a lot of physical toughness as well, and he's really thrived in that program. But part of the reason why he was encouraged to do it is, and I'm not sure if you know this, my father is a Timberlane state champion wrestler,
Didn't know that.
1971. So my dad speaks about Coach Chu, and although my dad is older than him, he talks about the family and the philosophy and the things that he learned. He spent K through 8 in another school district, moved to good old little Plastow, New Hampshire as a freshman, and moved in as a new wrestler and just thrived in that program and had instant family under that particular program and network. And one of the biggest draws, I think, for me to be in support of this is when you guys do the alumni night for wrestling. And there is a line to speak to Coach Chu. There are so many families and people in the community that want to connect with him, including my father, which is great. And he treated my dad like a celebrity, which was hilarious to me because, I just think it's just my dad to me. But, he respects his wrestling career. And so it's that ripple that grows so deep. You have a 1971 graduate, and I believe my dad was the oldest alumni there that night, all the way down to, like Mark was saying, like kids that graduated last year that are waiting in line to speak to him because he's still involved in the program. So I'm in big support of this.
Don?
Back in the early 80s when I started here with a head coach from 1980 until Barry came into the program. Barry had, I guess it was a cousin who was on our team, and his cousin was telling me all about this guy who had been a Timberlane graduate, who was a state champion, was wrestling at, I think it was University of Rhode Island, and then finally at UNH, and becoming a New England champion. He said, well, let's see if we can get him to come over to practice someday. And Barry started coming in. And those days when he came in were the best attended practices. The kids absolutely got a charge out of him. He lit up the room. He was very, very energetic at that point. Top shape. Stories to tell. But he had a magnetism about him. The kids just wanted to learn from him, and I think that never changed. His ability to command the attention of a room and to teach a lesson, a thoroughness and a enthusiasm that was contagious, I think was his signature talent. And I think that the fact that we have success still in the program, while he was kind of an advisor from a distance, right?
Not as much of a distance
A
as I would
presence,
like.
but it's a credit to hanging in there with a program over time and never changing, the belief that it doesn't matter if you're from the little town in New Hampshire, you can do great things on a huge stage. And our kids believe that as a result of, I think, his model, so
Jack.
certainly.
Yeah, I
certainly
just,
a great guy.
I wanna put people's minds at rest too. We're just not gonna go around naming buildings because we can. There needs to be a level there to aspire to. Mr. D fell into that category. The town I grew up in, Methuen, they named a wing, the pediatrician wing, after Dr. Dawson, the high school after Mr. Timoney, the field house after Mr. Clements. These were people that were mentors that just were incredible assets that give the staff and the administration and the students and the coaching staff things to aspire to. So I just want people to understand that we're just not running around naming things willy-nilly because it has to reach a certain bar to get to that point where I think any board should consider doing such a thing. And I most certainly think that Barry falls into that genre, if you will.
Any other discussion?
Can I just mention some pieces of the policy related to that?
Please
Just
do,
for-
please do.
For people, because in case there's a motion gonna be made. So this policy was deeply developed. There's a lot of criteria related to it. Mr. Brown followed the policy requirements to the T. It's been brought to the board by the superintendent. It's been presented to the board. There's a review of achievements, accolades, anything that's national, regional, state, local. We heard all of that tonight. In addition to any of the community participation and relevance, we've heard all of that tonight. And so the other piece of the criteria is that the proposal, that the proposed name is appropriate. So you're proposing the Berry Children Gymnasium.
To be quite honest, I didn't wanna jinx anything.
To clarify that.
I would like to make sure that that is what I mean, in my mind, yes, but I feel like it's appropriate to consult with him on that, I don't know, middle initial, I'm not sure.
That's fair. It's just part of the
part-
motion and the vote. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure
I
that
do wanna
everyone
consult with him
understood.
on that.
Got it. And that final approval of any proposal for anything related to signage, landscaping, and such is final approval from the school board. So
So
we are.
would one of my former coaches like the honor of honoring another of my former coaches?
Yeah, I move that as a board, we vote to honor Mr. Barry Chulgen for his extraordinary career by naming the gymnasium after him.
I will second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstention? Okay, it carries. And should he want something, some slightly different nomenclature, we can certainly amend that at a future time.
Thank you.
If I could, I'm
Please.
happy to connect with Mr. Brown. We'll get that nomenclature and then we'll talk about signage and those type of things, and I'll bring that information back to the board.
Awesome, thank you very much,
Great,
gentlemen.
thank you very much, appreciate the support.
Okay, next, I believe Mr. Henderson may be up. We're going to be discussing website communications.
Welcome, Ken.
Thank you. Evening, everyone. You know, I'm hoping after I retire, they rename the IT closet after me.
Hold on, let me write that down under the dollar signs on my friend from earlier.
So many years ago.
Ken closet.
Does that meet the criteria?
Maybe.
It's a really small room. So in your packet, you'll find a executive summary on the website RFP, which includes communications as well. It went out in April. And actually, there's 4 different applications we put out there to get upgraded and or replaced. And that includes the websites, obviously, which is the district website, the school websites, and department website like athletics. Mass notification system, which we currently use School Messenger for. A mobile application, which is the phone app, the Timberlane app, which you can put on your iPhone or Android. And then what makes me happiest, and I think will make you happiest, is SharePoint as well. SharePoint is your school board website. It's the BudCom website and all the committee websites. Also does the employee portal portion that employees can log into and get to information primarily from finance and HR. So that was put out there to be put under one umbrella, unified system, that will be, we're recommending a company called Final Site, which I'll get into in a minute. But some of the things that would be improved from this is, first off, the websites are gonna be more modern looking. They're gonna be streamlined and they're gonna flow a lot better than they currently do. Our website, I mean, I administrate it, I know, it's tough to find things. And we have a tremendous amount of information on our website, so this will make things a lot easier to find. The system will be more unified in that when we put out notifications, you can simultaneously distribute to 1, 2, 3, all websites. You can send to social media, email, phone calls, texts, and eventually the mobile app itself as well. So one button that will go simultaneously to whatever platforms we deem we want to send to. I'm really happy about that for snow days. I'm thinking, I get the text from Justin at 4:30 in the morning. I'm logging now into 4 or 5 systems to get stuff out there. So that sounds really lovely to me. Couple other future enhancements I really want to talk about and excited about is, first off, a community sign up form that would be on the website. So those that don't have students or are employees of the district can sign up for email notifications with us. And it's really simple to do, just fill that out and they would automatically get those notifications that we deem would be community or district events that we want to send out. Right now, we have a hole in our really communications, in my mind, of reaching those people because of, we can put stuff out on social media, but not everybody follows our pages. And I think this would be a great way to enable the community to follow what's going on in the district. And then the other huge, I think, feature enhancement would be, it's an AI chatbot. So if you've been on any websites in the past couple of years, you're probably familiar with this technology. I think it's going to be great. A website visitor will be able to log in, just go to the chatbot, ask it a question, and then come back with an answer. So, example, I'm looking for the school board minutes from January 5th, press it, and it should send you a link on where to go to find that. So I think that's just going to make it so much easier to search the website and get information from it. So we had 6 bidders on the RFP, and the recommended one was Final Site, which it's a $3,000 startup cost, which would include bringing over the information from the current website and SharePoint into their platform. And then it costs $26,000 a year from then on. Now, I'm anticipating one question, which is, we have the 4 platforms I talked about. How much do they cost now? So SharePoint we own. We don't pay anything for that. However, eventually we'll need to buy a new server, new hardware, and an upgraded version of SharePoint, which is not free. So while it won't cost anything next year, it's going to cost us a lot of money down the road to upgrade. The other 3 applications, the school messenger system, the website hosting, and the mobile app, come in total about $21 a year. So we're talking, once we get through next year, it's about $5,000-$6,000 increase, which it's still an increase, but I think it's worth it for the functionality we're getting and the streamlinedness of it. I'm anticipating a couple questions on the bid sheet.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's get to that. First off, there was no you might be thinking there's typos on this, no typos.
Okay.
This was what was submitted. So Seattle New Media, never heard of them. I'm not sure if those are numbers from this planet. It's a really weird format. And then the other one that really stood out was the universal equations at $550,000.
Yeah,
I don't know if that includes a house or if they thought we were trying to buy the company. Maybe they thought it was an RFP for buying a website company. Either one of those, I did not reach back out and get clarification because in both cases, what they were bidding didn't fit the bill anyway. So we just went ahead and put them in as is. So Final Site does have they are a very established company. They've been around for many years. They service 7,000 schools and districts worldwide. Some local districts include Sanborn next door. Nashua is moving to them currently, so the part of their website I think is final site, and the rest will be very soon. Lebanon, Hanover, New Hampshire, Medford, Mass. I have a whole bunch of references. If anybody's interested, wants to get them from me, I can send them to you.
Did you have an opportunity to speak with any of the school systems that are currently utilizing them?
I did not, no. I did, they did have like pre-canned references that I kind of read through, quotes and whatnot. I'm kind of familiar with them anyway, just from talking to other districts.
Okay.
I didn't call them for this RFP specifically, but I've talked websites many times with tech directors over there.
So your
the
comfort
past few
level,
years.
your comfort level is high and it's under $1 million, right?
Yes, it is.
Any questions, comments?
Question,
Mary
I
Ann?
saw you have a plan for a phased rollout. About
Yeah.
how long does the rollout?
Oh, excellent question. I meant to speak on this, so thanks for asking. This is starting this summer. I'm gonna put in, tomorrow I hope to sign a letter of intent with them to get the ball rolling. As you can imagine, this is their busy time of year, getting ramped up for summer with other districts. So I don't know exactly right now when this would be done. My goal would be to get the websites hopefully done before the start of the school year. I can't guarantee that because of the amount of information we gotta bring over. But I would hope by the end of the calendar year anyway, we would have all 4 of those applications up and running and cutting ties with all the rest of those. The old systems, yeah.
One last question for clarification here, $26,000 annually thereafter, for how long? Is this a 3-year deal, a 4-year deal, or
It's
ad infinitum?
It's a 1-year deal.
It's a 1-year deal. And so the following year, could that 26,000 then go up
In theory,
to?
it could go up, yes.
Okay. Great.
I know we spoke about earlier getting bus updates and locator GPS thing. Would this system also communicate with that? And could it, if not?
In terms of, well, you're talking about like the first view, where the application that maps where the buses are?
Yeah, yes, that's what we discussed earlier.
Okay.
Like, is that gonna be available through this
It
restructure?
won't be like, I don't think it'll be native on the website, and I don't think they would be able to take that technology and put it into the website. We could certainly put links to First View and be like, you go, click here to go to the First View app.
Okay.
Or website. I think that would be a no-brainer to do that in our transportation, page for sure.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Would somebody like to make a motion then?
Make a motion to approve entering into a contract with Final Site to develop an upgraded website and communication system at the cost of $29,000 for the first year and $26,000 annually thereafter for hosting services.
Second?
Second.
Jack raised his hand. Jack is a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstained. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jen, it's any consolation to you, they named the John after me, so.
And thank you for your dry humor again.
You love it.
Okay, next on the agenda is talking about the summer PE class overnight field trip.
Good evening.
Mr. Patterson.
Hey, Mark, welcome.
Thank you. So in your packets, you have a request for an overnight travel. The summer PE class is looking to do a hike and then stay over in tents. And then the next day do a guided kayaking tour of the Pemi and then return that evening. So it's part of that class. It's a condensed class that takes about a week. Towards the end of that class, that's when they're going up north to do that hike.
Cool.
Bree?
I'm in full support, but I will be abstaining because my husband and brother-in-law are on it. I see that.
So you're not gonna ask about safety equipment?
Big life insurance policy.
Sorry.
How about that humor?
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Marianne?
Are the students providing their own tents, or are the tents part of the Adventure Lure?
So Adventure Lure is providing those tents.
Okay.
Has this been done before?
As part of this class, no. So this class is relatively new. But they're every year they kind of want to do something new. And this year, the new part of this is that stay over. They have done hikes in the past, but the staying overnight and the kayaking trip down the Pemi is new for this class.
Don?
Mark Pasquini has kind of annually used Venture Lore's site as hosting canoe trips down the Pemmy, activity that was part of PE summer course. So very comfortable with the people that he works with there. He knows the rivers really well. He's a hiker himself. He's gone up just about every mountain that's worth climbing in New England and across the country. So I would say, yeah, you can be comfortable with this group.
Shauna?
So my kiddo participated in this class last year with these two particular instructors and went on a hike with Mr. Krieger, where he proclaimed that he was gonna die, but somehow came back alive and everything was fine.
Was that Mr. Krieger
That was
said
her son, not Mr. Krieger.
No, my son said that. Mr. Krieger kept encouraging him, which is very helpful, and now they're buddies, which is great. So thanks for keeping my kid alive on the mountain. But more importantly, part of this course, just to share with the board, just so you have a little bit of knowledge, is that part of the curriculum is that they're planning activities and looking at maps and planning courses and things that they're doing. And so to hear that this is like the end part and they can actually start to explore and navigate that particular area and add all these additional activities to the course before they actually get to the overnight trip is really exciting and thrilling. And I'm so in favor of this opportunity. And also just want to thank the folks that are willing to volunteer and go overnight in a tent with high school children. But also hoping that the board understands that this particular class is a summer class, but it helps students earn a half credit of PE. So this is such a really great, valuable opportunity for our students. So I'm in favor of it.
Did you have a comment, Alyssa?
I have a question. Is there a backup dates if for some reason weather is seen as hazardous or whatever?
So I know that they are very cognizant of weather. I mean, in all their outing club trips, they've thought about that. As of right now, I don't believe they have a definitive backup date because this course is running during that very specific time. Knowing how prepared Mark and Katie are, they will have, either a backup date to this trip or will adjust midweek. I know last year when they talked about going on a trip, they actually, I think, adjusted their trip. They looked at the weather and adjusted the trip and I think made a trip earlier and then did other things later. So, knowing the two of them, how cognizant they are of the safety aspect of things.
So I know in that area of the state, obviously the weather can
the weather can
change.
change.
I was just gonna say, they changed the date of the hike. There was plenty of
Yeah.
communication to families, students, through students to families and to families directly about the need to change.
And will we have to reapprove anything if the dates change? No, right? Just.
I mean, I don't want to speak for
No,
all of
no,
you. I mean,
please.
I believe the way the policy is written is you are just approving a overnight trip,
Okay, not the
Yep.
dates.
not the actual
specific
dates. I mean, we provide you the logistical details.
It does say
It does have the date, so we will verbally amend that. Mr. Sapia?
At some point in time, I would love, and you can pass this on, to see an entomology and fly fishing incorporated. Now the Pemmy is a great, especially in that spot, there's some little mountain streams, you flip over some rocks, it's one more thing to add to the experience. Just a thought. Wouldn't imagine who would teach that though.
Sure, we can
I
find
can't
someone.
imagine. Anybody?
I'd
Yes,
just
Marianne.
like to express appreciation to Adventure Lore for hosting this free of charge.
In that case, if there's no other discussion, I'll make motion to approve the Adventure Education Summer PE class to stay overnight in North Woodstock, New Hampshire, tentatively from June 26th to the 27th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstention? One abstention. Ms. Woodworth? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Mark.
Next in the agenda, position reallocation.
I'm going to be speaking to that tonight
Excellent.
on behalf of Ms. Knoda. So this is a position repurposing or redefinition that we spoke about briefly at your last meeting when we presented the elementary enrollment report. So just in summary, this is not a new position, but enrollment shifts annually across all of our schools. Currently, we have 3 full-day kindergarten classrooms this year at Pollard. Next year, our enrollment is projected to be well below 40. Max enrollment for kindergarten is 20. So we are only going to require 2 full-day kindergarten classes at Pollard. Enrollment at grade 2, however, has increased, where we require an additional class for that grade level. So we, in our coding, because we currently do not offer full-day K free of charge, our coding in our systems is different for position codes. So elementary positions are coded either as kindergarten positions or grade 1 through 5 positions. So the position code request is for the board to approve a redefinition of control code 1138 from a kindergarten position to an elementary grades 1 through 5 position. It'll just allow us to make that internal staffing shift with regard to the position in our systems.
How far below the 40 mark are we right now?
We are well enough below that we're comfortable doing
Okay.
this. Yeah, we
Like,
are
we're
not approaching
I
it.
just wanna make sure that we're not like,
39.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
like, we're not super close.
We are not at all
Okay.
super close. I can, if you give me a moment, I can pull up what we presented to you 2 weeks
I was just
ago.
gonna say, we
Yeah, I was like, I
Um,
couldn't remember what it
I don't have them in front of me, but I will
yeah,
find
it was-
that.
Was it that low?
Yeah, it was that low.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember looking at it.
Okay.
Because you
You have
mentioned,
that number?
I don't have the number, but I remember looking at it because we talked about the reallocation. So when I looked, I was like, oh, we're well below. I forget what it is exactly, but.
Any other questions or discussion? Somebody care to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the reallocation of Pollard's kindergarten position to an elementary 1 through 5 position.
Seconded by Bree, barely. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstention. Thank you very much. And now we have lease discussion. Ms. Watkins?
So Mrs. Watkins is here tonight just to present something for the board to consider. And then we can bring back anything more the board would need regarding information or anything to be either making decisions if you wanted to act on the information that we're gonna provide for you, be it tonight or be it again on June 19th. But there's certainly an opportunity as we look at our lease to have a prepayment this year. Ms. Watkins has some of the numbers. I'm gonna ask her to kind of run through you with the executive summary, and then both of us are here for open discussion with the board.
Good evening. As Mr. Krieger said, I would like to, well, the district has the opportunity to prepay phase 1 of the lease. The prepayment amount will be $3,077,415, and that prepayment will realize interest savings in the amount of $1,207,039. It is my belief that this strategic move will align with our goal of optimizing financial resources, as the district has been focusing on for the last couple of years, and also reducing liabilities, which is the prudent way to realize financial savings. So I will recommend, if the board desire, is to prepay that phase to do it in order to save the $1.2 million in interest.
And sorry,
Mr.
just as a framework, as we look about timing, we're looking at the end to close of the fiscal year. This is not a decision that the board needs to make tonight. We can have discussion tonight, and again, anything that we would need to be back to bring anything for the board that would increase that level of discussion, we can do that if the board wishes to act on it on June 19th as well.
Great.
Just for transparency, we do accrue a fee for prepaying the lease.
Yes.
And this savings is with that removed.
Yes, so the $3 million amount that you have there, that includes the prepayment. It is in the contract, it has been disclosed since the beginning. It's a 2% fee for the prepayment of any of the phases of the lease. Thank you for asking that.
Did you have a question, Alyssa or Marianne? You both did this at the same time.
So when would the payment actually be made? Once we approved it? Okay, like when's the latest it can be made?
The latest that we, if in reviewing this, the latest that we
The
could.
payment this year is due July 14th, so we have to make it by July 14th.
Did you have a question, Marianne?
Quick question, would we be looking at using funds from this fiscal year or the next fiscal year to make the $3 million payment?
This fiscal year.
This is, I mean, I don't know any other way of putting it. This is a no-brainer. This is very simple. I don't even know why we would hesitate. I would pull the trigger tonight. I wish really that Paul, is anyone else, and Katie were here, but I won't speak for them, but my guess is they would be right on board with this. That's my only hesitation in making the motion, but I think the sooner we do this, the better off we are. I mean, we squabble over 10,000 here, 20,000 there. This is a considerable amount of savings. This is, you know, if anyone wonders whether we have the best interests of the taxpayers at heart, this would be an example of us doing the right thing. I don't even think this is a hard decision at all.
Great.
This is just another thought outside. Is there any way to utilize this funding so that we don't draw on the lease for a phase, so that we don't have any interest on a project? Does
In
that
other
make
words, you're
sense?
saying instead of prepaying with that 3 million, setting it aside and offsetting a cost, say a $6 million project, putting that 3 million there. So
So
I think
we
in
draw
theory,
less
I
from
think in theory we could, but we're still having interest on, we're still be paying that interest
But we
because we have
wouldn't
not
be
repaid.
getting any of the interest, but we would be getting more
We wouldn't be
interest in-
using the credit card for the future.
The reason why I don't think,
I thought I saw your hand up. Nope. Jack?
the reason why I don't think you can do that is because of the time frame. I don't think you
Okay.
can
That
get
was just-
the
that's what I
projects
was-
in place, the numbers and the signed contract. So time is our enemy on that. Good idea, but
Don had his hand up.
Oh, sorry, Don.
I wouldn't confuse any of this with decisions about what work is being done. It's really about the payment that we were going to have to make and how much we really want to spend. This is a way to save money.
Right, so again, to emphasize, I believe you had said, Ms. Watkins, this is phase one, paying off phase one for work that has been done. The district's on the hook for. Outstanding balance, this is an opportunity to pay off early that outstanding balance and save over $1 million over the long term with monies that have already been raised through taxation, rather than raising them again and then again and again at some future time to the tune of an additional $1 million from the taxpayers. Great.
Does that adjust the timeline of the appropriation for the original warrant article? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure that I understand the question. Say it again.
So if we have a $1.2 million savings, but in the warrant article, it stated that we would appropriate this amount of money for this amount of years, are we allowed to then drop the final year or adjust the final year?
We could. The only hesitation that I will have about that is we don't know the remaining phases. We don't know what the interest rate will be for those phases. So depending on that obviously the annual payment of each phase is affected by the interest rate. So that will be my only hesitation. But I mean, it's something that the board can discuss and we can make a decision if it is or not.
So we're just talking about phase one, that's already been
Marianne?
completed. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify as part of the question.
So I agree the interest savings is substantial and this seems like a good idea to me. The concern I would have is tonight, on the agenda, we only had the lease as informational and the public didn't see details about what was going to be discussed until 4:00 this afternoon or so. I think that's when I saw the link on the website. So if there's no issue, if the payment is July 14th, and we can discuss this again and make the motion to proceed, then to give anybody in the public who might be caught off guard and want to weigh in chance. I know last year there was a similar end of the year, could we do this? And there were people who wanted it to happen in that fiscal year or next fiscal year, and I wouldn't wanna
Not allow them a chance to express themselves.
I'd like them to have the opportunity, yes.
No, that's very good.
Mr. Sapien?
To that, I would just say that's an excellent point. but in this case, it wouldn't be an expenditure, it would be a savings. And I can't imagine anybody from any side of our fiscal, of that has a fiscal opinion on how this place should be managed, disagreeing that this would be a sound fiscal move. I know there have been critics of the lease. This kind of alters that to a certain, you know, it would be nice if we could have appropriated $5 million a year for 5 years, but that, we all know that that probably would never have passed the mustard. So I guess we could wait for 2 more weeks. I'd prefer to do it tonight, just to get one more thing off of our table. It saved the taxpayers whatever that number was,
1.2 million.
substantial amount of money. That's, I can't imagine anyone coming in and arguing that point. And at some point, we have to make that decision. Do any of us see us changing our mind on that? I don't.
I just, appreciate the sentiment that we don't want people to feel like we're pulling something over on them by trying to, make this payment in advance because we see the benefit and we think they will too. And had they seen it, would they have been here to ask a question, or would they picked up the phone to ask the superintendent questions? I don't know, but if it's not an issue to wait 2 weeks, to give people that opportunity to have questions answered, I see no harm in it, and as far as how much time it would take up, we'll spend a little time to save a whole lot of money without a whole lot of grief.
Personally, I agree. I can't see not prepaying it. I think it would be financially responsible. You did bring up a very good point, and no, I would be hard pressed to hear an argument that would change my mind. Your point is valid and taken. As such, I'm trending toward, discussing this again and acting on it 2 weeks from now.
I agree. Consensus?
Yeah.
Consensus? Okay,
I'll work with you and Katie and we'll be sure it's on the agenda for the
perfect.
19th.
Thank you, Bart. Yes, Maria.
If I may say one more thing, I actually want to express my appreciation to Mary Ann. She has been extremely involved with all the finance things in the board. She has pretty much become my second set of eyes, and I cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate Mary Ann. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now, that wasn't in a letter format, but we'll accept it as a,
It is extremely
Positivity
helpful.
post
So,
office.
Positivity,
Thank
okay.
you.
Thanks, Maria.
The students have had an impact.
Okay, next we up to F, revocation of policy DO.
So on tonight's agenda, we announced at the last meeting our intent to include an agenda item to ask the board to revoke policy DO, which is food service meal account balances. It does conflict with a different policy. I am, however, going to make the recommendation that this be pushed off to a future meeting because policy BGF, which governs the process for waiving, suspending, or revoking board policies, does require that when revoking a policy, a majority vote of the entire board membership in favor at a properly noticed meeting, that has to happen. So we are, right now, because you are missing 2 members, we don't meet that criteria to revoke a policy, so.
Thank you for the information.
Any objections to holding off and following policy to change policy?
I don't think we have.
Okay, seeing none, we're moving on.
Consensus met.
Consensus met, thank you.
Thanks, Sandy. We'll be sure that's back on June 19th for the entire board.
Great.
Okay, budget transfer.
Budget transfers. There's 2 of them tonight that I'll present on behalf of Dr. Martin. The first, I believe, is on page 23 of your packet. It's specific to special education. This is the last budget transfer you'll see from special education this year. It totals $130,000. It'll be removing money from repair and maintenance, high school tuition, and middle school tuition, and will enable us to finish paying our fiscal '25 special education costs.
Jack?
I thought the last time we did one of these budget transfers, it was substantially high. And I think I asked the question if that was going to be the last one for the year. No doubt, I know you need this. I mean, the math is the math, but
To that
just,
point,
it kinda,
I think it's a great opportunity to point out the ebb and flow of special education cost and how it is directly tied to what students need. And every day that we have an operational day at school, we're meeting with teams and families, and teams are making decisions about what those students need. They're changing on a daily basis. This is in response to that ebb and flow. Great question, Jack.
thank you.
Anybody else?
Make a motion to approve those budget transfers in the amounts and accounts specified in the special education budget transfer requested date June 5th, 2025.
Second.
Second by Alyssa. All those in favor? Opposed? No abstentions. And I would just point out as a point of information for the board, as we look at special education as a total budget, and we're comparing this year where we're gonna end in terms of budget to actual versus where we ended last year. We are in the bullseye area this year, whereas the last year we were off of the board. So things are looking a whole lot more shipshape this year in terms of coming in where we think we would have landed. The second one for you is for facilities. This is specific to the canopy. Again, transferring these funds, and this is asking for a request of transfer of $41,540.54 from custodial uniforms, travel and workshops, vehicle fuel, and fuel oil district. These are all places we will not need for the remainder of this year, and moving those funds will allow us to complete the balance owed on the canopy project. Excellent.
Listen, I have a question,
Jack?
if you don't mind.
No.
Wasn't the canopy part of the CIP project, wasn't that in the budget as under CIP? I could be wrong on that, no?
I didn't think so.
Alright, okay. I just, I know we had scheduled that a few times, I mean, for the work to be done.
Right.
I kinda, for some reason, I just thought that was part of the projected work to be done. We put it out to bid. I just thought that that was part of, it wasn't part of the CIP.
I don't think so.
A year.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Marianne?
The line that's called sites, is that where the rest of the canopy money already is?
That, Ms.
Yes.
Watkins, that would be my guess.
It's an outdoor capital project, so that would be out of the 4,200 which is the sites.
And even though if it wasn't part of the CIP, it's still a capital project, isn't it?
Yes.
Anything else from the board? In that case, I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfers in the amounts and accounts specified in the facilities budget transfer request dated June 5th, 2025. A second
Second.
by Shauna. All those in favor? Opposed? No abstentions. Okay, CIP committee bylaw discussion.
CIP committee bylaw discussion, I'm happy to preview that for the board. I think it's on page 25 of your packet. This summary is coming out of discussions at the CIP committee level of the board and its bylaws. Little bit of background is that here in Timberlane, policy BDE sets the direction for all standing committees of the board. CIP is listed as one of those potential standing committees, along with 6 others. However, the CIP committee has learned that it's the only committee of the school board in Timberlane that has its own set of bylaws and membership guidelines that are more than what is outlined in school board policy and more than the conditions under which every other school board member committee functions. So specifically, the CIP committee was looking to bring the following 3 items. There's a potentially 4th one to add that is not in front of you on the summary that we'll talk with board members about. But here is the summary of those pieces. One is the CIP committee membership. They're looking to explore currently the reading of the bylaws requires 4 school board members on that committee, 2 budget committee members, 4 town residents, the CFO, and 2 district administrators. The second piece that they want to consider here for discussion is the definition of a capital improvement in the bylaws. Currently, it's listed as a value of $30,000. The committee itself had voted to make that change 7-1 to expand that to $100,000. And also the term or the useful life of the project that's being recommended. Currently, the bylaws stand at 3 years. The committee has voted previously to change that to 5 years, and that was an 8-0 vote. Also 3, they're looking for a timeline. The submission date currently is May 1st. They also had a committee vote there. It was 7-0-1. They're looking to make those submissions on a rolling basis and not limited to a specific timeline. I know both Jack and Bree serve on this committee, and we're either part of those discussions or have some thoughts here. There could be a 4th item to bring for clarification, but Jack, as the co-chair, I defer to you first. Is there any other things that would be important to share with the board regarding this?
When we put together Sue, basically John and Sue, but I was sitting on the committee at the time, put together these bylaws, the thought process was to have 4 board members, because as we all know, sometimes one town gets the lion's share of the projects and then the other town's saying, why is Atkinson or Plastow getting all the money? So we thought it would be proper to have a representative from each town on the board. So the reality is that typically we have 2 board members show up. We don't have 4. So the question I think before the board is, do we want to amend that bylaw to say 2 board members as opposed to 4 board members?
In discussion at CIP, our suggestion was for up to 4 members to keep the integrity of the initial bylaw of allowing each town to have say in the committee, but also understanding we need to move along with maybe only 2 representatives at a time.
Yeah, and that's basically it.
That intuitively, that makes sense to me. So every town has the ability to have a representative from that town, but a meeting can continue even if there are only 2 school board members there. Otherwise, it'd just be unwieldy and you couldn't have any meetings. That's my 2 cents.
I'm not quite sure how that's headed, because it seems to make sense to have 4 people because of the structure of the district. And it makes sense that it meets every other committee requirement to just have 2 in attendance for it to be, something you could make votes on.
Wait.
So I, as long as there's an understanding, I think it helps to have some flexibility to be able to keep the ball rolling. So if you had only 2 members and somebody couldn't show up, you couldn't make a decision. So I just don't want to see that.
Right. Jack?
Yeah, the committees function with 2 board members for as long as I can remember, right? But again, because of the very nature of what the CIP is and how the process works, at any point in time, if a board member from a specific town, which would be designated to this, feels as though that they need to go to a committee meeting and chime in, that would be great. Now, when I was talking to the New Hampshire School Board Association gentleman, he's like, you gotta be real careful when board members start showing up to committee members, because all of a sudden they start getting input, and then all of a sudden you have a quorum and it's not a posted meeting. I mean, so there are some nuances there to consider, but not in this particular case. I just thought it was.
So in theory, is this board comfortable with saying up to 4 members preferred from the district, from all 4 towns, but the meeting can continue, we only need 2 members there at any time?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, please, if you can.
So Bree and I are the members on the CIP, correct?
Yep.
I think we appoint 2 other board members from each of the other towns, but we're the 2 that basically
Yes.
show up, unless one of those other appointed board members wants to be there.
Does that sit comfortably with everybody? Is that the direction we think we want to go philosophically?
I just didn't wanna be out of the bylaws. Right now it says 4, we don't have 4. So I'm
Okay.
happy with whatever gets us there.
Okay, so my recommendation is we discuss changing it to 2 members with an option of 4, yes. Alyssa, did you raise your hand?
No, Mary Ann's
Mary Ann.
mulling something over. I was interested to hear what she had to say, if she was gonna say.
I think if the bylaws say 4 and we wanna keep it, that there's 1 person from each town, that ought to be the committee that's appointed. But you don't always need all 4 present to vote on something, do you?
Right.
So,
Right, that's what we're trying to say, that
Right.
we're okay with that.
I mean, is that
My only
case?
concern with that is quite honestly, say you are appointed from Danville, but you're not one of the core 2 members. Danville could start getting upset with you of, hey, how come you weren't at the meetings? And it's just unwieldy in the middle of the day to expect 4 members. I don't know how to parse that.
I understand that it could be difficult to have 4 board members on one committee, so
Yeah.
if that's unwieldy, then maybe the
also did
bylaws should be changed.
Don?
CIP is a committee of the board.
Mhm.
And the board would, as a board, have to make a decision about any recommendation that they would make. So there is no real fear of anybody
that's true
pulling the
too.
wool over
That's
somebody
true
else's
too.
eyes. It's gonna come to the board and we'll have
Good
a
point.
full, representation of ideas around that if it's necessary.
So in order to stay in compliance, my tendency right now would be to support 2 school board members amending that. So that we're not in violation of the policy as written.
I think Bree had a good suggestion of just adding language of up to the bylaws.
Yes.
I
Wonderful.
would like to make
Make
an
the motion.
amendment. I would like to make a motion to amend the CIP committee membership to read in 1-A up to 4 school board members.
Jack?
1 from each town.
You can't do that with only, that might button us in.
That's what's in the current stipulation.
Yeah.
That was the whole purpose for,
That was the purpose of it.
yeah.
Well, we could do this part first and then do that part after.
That's fine.
You can have that as your motivation.
Right.
But you're saying up to 4, because you're not always going to have, somebody from the town that can do it. So I like the way, no, you're putting it up to 4.
Yep.
You're welcome.
All those in favor? Would you like more discussion, Mary Ann?
I'm just confused
Breaking protocol here.
why the school board is amending the committee's bylaws if the committee wrote them in the first place.
Because it's school board committee.
It's a school board.
It's a school board committee.
So the school board.
We actually had that,
The school board approved them the first time around? Okay,
yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll try this again. All those in favor?
Still in there.
Opposed? Abstentions? None. Thank you. Good call.
Who
Yes.
seconded it? I'm sorry.
That would have been Alyssa.
Oh.
Thank you.
There's also discussion, if you don't mind.
Yes, no, please.
That only one BudCom member tends to show with a second, kind of like we have in some of our other committees.
So would you like to change that to a minimum of 1 BudCom member?
Do you want it to
I
say?
hear Bree saying up to
She's
budget.
gonna say, do we want it to say up to again? That's what.
Was that the motion Bree
Be my
made?
suggestion, but discussion on the table.
I think, especially when it comes to something like deliberative session, to have had only 1 person who was a part of that limits the potential positive feedback you could get from the board. I thought that we were putting you on, a pretty much island up there,
Right.
So I would say having 2 people would be a great idea for such an important committee.
We need another representative. Or for them to
So in
understand.
that case, up to would work because we can't force them. And if we have an issue where we cannot get a second member, then we'll be in violation. So Mr. Krieger's suggestion and creative interpretation of Bree's statement of up to 2 members makes a lot of sense. I think we should have more people up there, less isolated. I agree with you, Don. But this gives us the flexibility, should a second member not want to participate, we're still in compliance.
Jack, do you have any?
I know the person from the budget committee that's gonna be there, so I think we're splitting hairs here, and again, I want the board to remember, as Dawn, I think, suggested, everything that comes from the CIP that comes before the board are recommendations. Those things aren't written in granite, and typically, once we do write them in granite as the board, things change during the course of the year, which means we change what those CIP items are. So I don't wanna get caught up in the weeds here, but I'm okay with up to 2.
I make a motion to change the CIP bylaws for 1-A up to 2 budget committee members.
Dash B.
1-B, sorry, yes, up to 2 budget. Second.
Seconded by Alyssa. All those in favor? Opposed? No abstentions? Excellent. And under 2, definition of capital improvement, there was a vote of 7-1 to change it from $30,000 to $100,000.
Mark, I think there's some other things in membership that the CIP,
Nothing else was.
No.
nothing else. Okay,
Everything else was
More
good.
updates.
my apologies.
Yeah, no worries. Given. So under 2, 30,000 was changed to $100,000, 7-1 vote. Would either one of you want to
Yeah,
discuss
so-
the rationale?
So I'll start out and then Bree can correct me. I thought, I think the general consensus was 30,000, the list is long and cumbersome, and with the 100,000, it makes it more meaningful projects. I struggle with that. I was okay with the 100,000. I'd be okay with 75,000. I don't wanna go against the vote of the committee, but you know, when you get up into those numbers, those are meaningful things that should be on the budget. The $30,000 incremental stuff is, I think, part of the day-to-day RFP business doing kind of things, and the document, although a historical document, as Sue Sherman would tell us, is getting long and cumbersome, and we, as a committee, struggle with how to maybe dividing that up into a meaningful list and a secondary backup list, for lack of a better term. Right?
Just supporting data, I believe there was one item in technology that was under 100,000 out of
Everything else was
a
above.
I was just
50
gonna ask that,
list
yeah.
item. And that was even taken by technology. Ken had it in his own budget. So a lot of them are one-time expenditures that we cover in the budget as one-time expenditures and not CIP projects. And so it does address the majority of needs.
How long were we at 30,000?
I'm sorry?
How long has it been the 30,000?
30,000.
I think that's from its
It
inception.
was originally a 10.
Couple
Oh,
of
was it?
years. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, please.
Oh my God.
It was, I believe, 2023, we moved to 30. It used to be 10.
That's a big jump.
But I think it's a meaningful, I think it's a,
It's a
trust me, when you
necessary-
look at all the stuff on there, it's, I believe it's a
500,000.
meaningful.
I like, the justification for moving it up is, but moving it up by 300% plus is
Mhm.
something pretty significant. So-
And I think if you look at the CIP and the things that we have slated for the next 2 or 3 years in that progression,
Mhm.
there's nothing in there that falls beneath that level. So when it's presented to the school board for the budget and before the budgetary committee, there'll be meaningful items on there of substance.
Not small stuff. Marianne?
And when you call them small stuff, things that are between 30 and 100 would still be coming to the board, right? Under the other policy, just not through CIP.
Yes.
Correct.
So-
There's still overview. It's just kind of
There's
putting a
still
filter on
overview.
CIP.
So like a $99,000 bathroom at high school wouldn't be a capital improvement project?
$99,000 bathroom.
I think it'll be more than that.
If you can do the bathrooms for 99,000.
Yeah, I think that.
Yes.
There'll be an RFP out for that,
Right.
one-time expenditure.
Okay.
But that would also be in the budget. It'd be in the budget under facilities. Just because it's not on the CIP doesn't mean it's work not to be done.
I guess that makes sense.
And again, we can change that number here if people would like, but I would like to make a motion to accept the change to 100,000.
Again, and I know it's, people have a hard time.
We got a motion.
I'm sorry.
She made a motion.
She did?
She did.
So is it open for discussion?
I need a second
After a
first.
second.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, now it's open for discussion.
It's hard for people to get their arms around. Those number of items create a bucket of money, CIP money. Those monies can be used for that 99,000. If the board determines that the $99,000 bathroom is a priority, then that money gets reallocated from one project to that. So it gives us guidance as a board, that pool of money, as to what we would like to move forward on, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're locked into those specific projects.
So you supportive of the motion as read?
Are you asking me?
I am asking you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstention?
Abstention.
Abstention, Ms. Springer. Thank you both very much.
There's one more thing.
Yes, 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 yes.
Useful life.
And under 2B, 3-year useful life, changing that to a 5-year.
Can someone give a definition of what they mean by
So-
useful life?
That the life expectancy of said project would be over 3 years.
Okay.
We're saying we should really be investing more than that time in our money and energies, and it should be 5 years at least.
I'm confused as well. Clarify that a bit more. 3-year useful life for that particular project or for the capital improvement? The project itself we're talking about, not the
So-
capital improvement.
We would not plant in, I can't even think of anything, but a flower field of all annuals.
Because that's
We
what we do here.
wanted
They need to be perennials.
to come back each year.
Okay.
It's the only thing
So
I can
like
think
the
of.
belfry, we're expecting the improvements in
10
the
year,
belfry to
20
be
years, a
last
roof, 20
however
years.
many.
Okay.
Okay.
Because therefore it is truly capital improvement, not a one-time ice castle, right? Okay, thank you. I
Ice
wasn't
Castle would
certain.
have been good.
I know, Ice Castle.
Discussion?
I have one question.
Please.
Would changing it from 3 years to 5 years negate most technology?
That's a great question. That's a
initiatives?
fantastic question.
I don't know if how many of them are
Ken-
capital
I was gonna say,
improvements
where's
anyhow.
Ken?
I know we did
Well-
discuss this, and sorry, Jack, you're chair.
Like with technology, you're buying a capacity to do things, it doesn't change. So like, what is the ongoing expense of computers? You try to get them to last 3, 4, 5 years, but you don't have a guarantee of that. You might have a replacement schedule, but you're maintaining a certain capacity. So I don't think it would be necessarily a problem, the 3-year piece on something that is a constant expense.
Right, I mean, so that's an interesting question. I'll play the devil's advocate a little bit with the technology question. Say we have a server and the expected life is, 35 months until it needs to be upgraded. Would that then fall out? Yeah, Bree.
Jack.
I think you've lost control of the meeting. I think technology is like I before E after C. I think it's the exception to the rule. Because technology is ever changing. So you could find out something 2 years, 3 years down the line that there's a better mousetrap for technology, unlike say a roof. A roof is a roof.
Bree.
So I know CIP had a robust discussion about this, and Ken actually has his own technology budget that does all of the technology things in a rolling cost and has already collaborated all of those funds, and so they are not a part of CIP.
So they're necessary.
Okay, perfect. Okay, excellent.
I think the intent is to have a large focus and the subsequent kind of payoff for that is it may also increase transparency through the budget committee process, that if there are projects that are falling below $100,000 or $30,000 or below a 5-year timeline, that we're making an argument to the budget committee about what the need is. And I think that can help in terms of transparency with the community as well.
Thank you. That gives it some
Make a
context.
motion to amend the 3-year useful life to 5-year.
Second.
Ooh, that was tough. I'm gonna have to give that to Shauna for the second. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? None. Okay. And last but not least, timeline submission day is May 1st. The committee voted 7-0-1 to make submissions, rolling submissions. Jack?
So on this, and I found it to be the case that if we come up with something after May 1st or something during the course of the year, we should be able to put it on the CIP. It may not meet the threshold of hitting the, I don't know if threshold is the right word, the timeframe of getting into the next budgetary process, but it shouldn't be eliminated from being I think it should be able, if we have a meaningful project and we all of a sudden we find out that we need X, we shouldn't be stuck to the existing time frame that we currently have as to that process, right? Process, procedure, whatever you wanna call it. The other part of that was, I thought that right now administrators can do that and department heads. It was also discussed, and my recommendation is that school board members, because we're an active part of this, part of that committee, they can also be able to make a recommendation and make a submittal. Now, the normal.
Point of order, that's a
Yeah,
second
wait a sec,
proposal that we'll go over next.
I'm discussing simply the timeline right now. I think number 4 is what you're alluding to. Let's stick to number 3A.
Well,
Submission
no,
timeline?
I see that, but the only reason I brought that up under that was because we kind of merged those two talking points.
Let's
If you wanna
separate them
separate
right
them,
now?
that's fine.
So
So anyways,
we take your
that's
point.
the reason why, and yeah.
Follow up on that, just supporting information, we wanted to alleviate the end of year stress for administration who are submitting these CIPs. Also, any retention concerns that may come up at the end of the school year. This again allows things to be submitted throughout the entire year.
Can any further discussion on this? And if not, I'll throw it over. Do you see a disadvantage or an advantage to changing
Only
that?
see advantages.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Make a motion for the submission date to be rolling and strike the May 1st due date.
Seconded by Mr. Woodworth. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? None.
And if you have a moment, I have this draft minutes from the CIP meeting about what Jack was talking about, and that they would like to add school board member to make requests, not just administrators from the district. And the vote for that was 5-4, 2 against, and 1 abstention.
5-4-2 against.
You
Okay.
could
Would you like to speak to that, Jack?
Yeah, and look, I was the one who suggested that, just because at times there were many of us that sit here that are an integral part of that process, relative to facilities, relative to our board meetings. I wouldn't even be opposed to a member of the CIP or a member of the board presenting it to the board, and the board as a whole making that request. Maybe that's a more.
I'm not following.
So in other words, say I wanna build a new gymnasium, a new field house out there, and I wanna put that on the CIP.
You being a school board member.
Me being a school
Yes.
board member. Right now, if this board decides they want a new field house, that doesn't get put on the CIP, it's gotta be done by an administrator. Why shouldn't the board have the ability, seeing it's a school board committee, to be able to put that request on the CIP? And what I'm saying is, instead of a specific school board member doing it, maybe it's a better that
Checks
the
and
board,
balances, you're saying.
that the board does it. Like, in other words, someone comes and says, hey, I'd like to put this on the CIP, the board votes on it, it gets on the CIP list.
Just for clarification points, this was about any school board member could make a recommendation to CIP.
And then CIP would bring it to the board for the board to review.
And then CIP would review it and put it on the
Right.
list and then determine
Okay.
timeline of it. Jack is bringing up an alternative option to that it must be voted on by the entirety of the school board.
Okay. So you don't, is there a working motion that either one of you are able to articulate for us to discuss? We seem to be at a crossroads here.
No, it's not that I have something I wanna put on there.
Understood.
Today.
I'm talking about functionality with getting things in front. Do you have a motion that you're comfortable with presenting and discussing now? You seem to be coming at it
Yeah,
from
sure.
two slightly different angles.
No, I think we're on the same page, right? I mean, are you okay with that alternative option?
Again, I think it offers more checks and balances, but also then it slows things down of that you need to wait for a school board meeting, have it on the agenda, so now you're talking a month plus delay into the next CIP meeting versus just having one idea.
Welcome to the public sector.
Understood. Do you have a motion that you can clearly articulate?
I would like to make a motion to approve school board members to submit requests to CIP.
And I'll
to
second.
allow school board
Allow
members.
school board members to
And I'll
submit CIP
second.
requests.
I'll second that.
Further discussion.
What was the vote? from the
7-2.
You're making. the
Sorry,
board
5-2-1,
member can make a
5-2-1 was the
suggestion
vote.
for something to
5-4,
be
2
considered
against, 1
by-
abstain.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, for consideration only. Marianne?
What points were raised against this?
That the school board members can come to administrators and they could do it.
And to be honest with you, someone, I think they asked me, what's your problem with that? And I said, well, at times respectfully, the administration and the school board disagree on things. It's not a big deal, we do. But I don't see limiting input.
And we may not always have as reasonable an administration as we currently are blessed to have.
Yes, how about that, Tracy?
Sandy thanks
But-
you.
One last thing on that is, again, as Bree stated, it's gotta be submitted, accepted by the committee, brought over to the school board. I mean, there's so many checks and balances.
Seems as if you're just trying to take one layer of communication out of it.
We're just talking about them, it's just putting it on the list for potential.
Correct.
Like, we're not
Consideration,
talking
okay.
about
It's a
like the school
consideration.
board member being able to directly
Understood.
Not
enter their.
steamroll it in.
Correct, okay, we're just talking about having it on the potential list. of
We feel
projects.
the school boards
Okay.
are informed
Yep.
committee member, citizens, whatever you wanna call us, and that they should be able to make that decision.
So the motion was made. Any further discussion? Thoughts? Would you read the motion one more time or
No, what do you
could we please have it read one more time?
Yeah, just to allow school board members to submit requests to the CIP.
That's it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Second? Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, Jack
Okay,
did.
sorry.
Opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none?
Thank you all for your time with that.
No, that was beefy.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bree, for the background.
Wasn't sure if we wanted to add any of the
I bring her
in that as well.
No, because all the others.
Up
we
to
follow
one school
that.
board.
Next, notice of New Hampshire School Board Association 2025, call for resolutions.
Is that what Kim went to?
That was,
Yes.
yes.
We need a.
Do we currently have a member?
We do not.
We do not have a
We
member
need
on that committee.
to nominate or
Okay.
think about who is going to go do this.
So who's familiar with the workings of this? I know Mrs. McCormick did it before. The time commitment was not great, but it was potentially intensive for that 1 or 2 days. Can anybody illuminate what the role is any more than my failure? Mr. Krieger.
It is my understanding that this is about policy and changes and bringing, as a Timberlane School Board, we can bring one bylaw
Recommendation.
or recommendation or things like that. We also review all of the suggestions and she brings kind of like, or the representative brings their collective kind of voting and preferences to vote in that setting. But I do.
Very well.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sapia.
Yes, because Mr. Woodworth showed up late tonight, I feel like I should nominate him. I told you I was gonna get you. And the other candidate I think may do a fine job after Maria's recommendation is Mrs. Springer. But I don't wanna put either of them on the spot, but it should be A or B, unless of course Sean wants to do it.
I am officiating a wedding that day. I am officiating a wedding that day. Please don't laugh.
That's
The couple may be watching.
So.
I am really officiating a wedding that day.
So Mrs. Springer and
So
Mr.
you're
Woodward.
up, so it's down to John.
Jack. Would either one of you
Saturday, October 4th.
or anybody else be interested in it? You two
I'd
are
be interested in it. I don't know what October 4th is at this point, and I'll bring it back here if I had an issue and couldn't make it, but I think
I
that
think we have time before we
Yeah, it
have
says
to.
it's not until August
August
1st.
But we do need to facilitate providing feedback on the resolutions. Because that has to be provided by Friday, August 1st.
Would you be equally interested, Mrs. Springer?
So we provide school board feedback on the resolutions?
Correct.
The
So
state
that would-
proposes
You're our
resolutions, we
representative.
get the opportunity as a board to look at that and give our input.
Okay.
And our board representative then takes our collective
You're a delegate.
votes. You're a delegate.
But we can also
Submit.
submit a
Correct.
resolution.
Yes.
Correct.
Have we done that recently?
We did not
We've had-
last year.
We've
Me
had
too.
people be involved
Yeah.
in various degrees. Back in the days that, we had somebody who was an officer of, so I mean, I think it's an opportunity for our district to be able to bring back information from the Hampshire Association here. And also our feedback is more informed, that way.
Because it doesn't seem as if the time frame is very restricted, could I ask the both of you, assuming you are both interested, to discuss it amongst yourself? And see, and inform us next meeting who would, like to take that mantle? Or we'll, do rock, paper, scissors.
At one point, I was, talking to Kim about going with her too. I don't think it's exclusive in terms of people that can be there.
Okay.
You can attend as
you know,
like a silent witness.
Okay, so the two of you will talk sometime within the next 2 weeks?
Sure.
Wonderful.
And man, it says August 1st if you are looking to submit a proposal.
Administrators report.
Sandy?
I have two brief things. The first is I spoke about this for the first time 2 weeks ago, just putting the board on notice that we have been working with membership and leadership from the Timberlane Teachers Association to review and update their evaluation plan. That is a 5-year document that does connect to the CBA and does require full board approval and also the approval of a majority of the membership. So we had our second full day workshop this past Tuesday. It's been very, very productive, very collaborative. We do not yet have a final version, but we anticipate that we will be finishing that in the coming weeks and are hoping that that will go for a presentation and vote to the TTA membership at one of our professional development days when we return in August. And we would like to we plan to bring that to you once we have the TTA weigh in on those things. So that is ongoing work. I want to thank Mr. Broad. It's been, like I said, really productive. Super appreciative of the teachers and the other fellow administrators who have been part of that. Also in connection with that, just wanted to also let you know that part of our planning has involved training for administrators connected to evaluation. And so all of our administrators district-wide who evaluate right now have started virtual training to align our practices, to deepen their understanding of the framework that we use currently and will continue to use to evaluate teacher effectiveness and connected to instruction, planning and preparation, professional responsibilities, and relationship building, all of the above. Teaching is a complex, very, very complex profession. And so we are excited to be starting that training. We're going to have our first check-in with administrators on June 23rd to talk about our work. And so it's just some really great things happening and we'll keep you updated. But you will be seeing that document again, hopefully in mid to late August. So more to come. And that's all I got.
Thank you. I have a couple of brief things to share, and then I want to follow up with 2 things that I had asked the board to think about at our last meeting and hopefully get some clarity in terms of who's going to be serving on tax cap committee and negotiation teams moving forward. But before we get there, wanted to inform the board that I'm going to work toward this summer investigating Saturday as a deliberative session date. I'll begin engaging towns and reaching to them and talking with those folks over the summer months. Also, I'll engage the board's legal counsel, and I will be prepared to come back in early fall, be it September or October, and give the board a small presentation of things that we learned and what are the potential pathways to get there for this next cycle.
Just for clarification, would that be Saturday day or Saturday night?
What the feedback I'm getting from communities and the folks that have heard at delegates and individuals are looking for a daytime piece.
Thanks.
Wanted to also inform you that the last meeting I was here, I let you know that Ginger and I Ms. Drexel, who is going to be overseeing special education, have begun and are looking to schedule open forums with each of our schools. That 7 times will be after school, meeting with any staff member who wanted to attend. We've met with the high school team, the middle school team, and 2 elementary school teams. We're certainly finding some common threads, and we're also finding things that are unique to buildings, and both of those things are no surprise. Each of those meetings have been very, very different in terms of how the conversation has gone. They've all shared the same framework. I'm taking a moment to outline 3 things that I emphasized in the letter, talking about the robust personnel staff we have, 200 people working in special education, talking about the emphasis next year is on relationships rather than compliance. And lastly, that we are looking to set a course around student services and explaining to the staff there about what's the rationale for me of why special education should be nested under student services. We then had a bulk of our time where staff get to ask questions, see clarifications of that long-term vision. They can ask macro pieces of the system or micro pieces about what that impact is going to be specific to them in their role. So we're eager to have those 3 closing conversations at the rest of the elementary schools before the year is out. I want to remind the board that we have probably the best day of the year ahead of us in terms of when kids realize the end of their journey. We've got high school graduation on the 14th, 10 a.m. You all have an invite. It is when we say goodbye to folks after 12 years, and they are carving a pathway kind of without us after that. So it's really a special place to be. I wanted to remind you that you're also all invited to the staff closing experience we're going to have. That again is June 20th, 9 a.m. It's going to be only a half hour long. It will be at the PAC. We do feel it's important, both Sandy and I and Dr. Martin, to close the year with our entire staff across the district. 2 things I brought to you last time. The first is about the tax cap committee. I had asked the board last meeting to think about this meeting, letting me know who may want to serve as co-chair with myself with that committee, and also for the board to determine a target month that when we begin meeting as a committee this summer, we can put the charge immediately on the table about what month this group needs to be ready to present their findings to the school board. The 2 things I'm looking for tonight: a co-chair to serve with me, and then a potential month for a delivery of information back to the board in the fall.
Before we get to that, just a point of clarification. I think you had said relationships over compliance. I was not following. What are the implications there that
There
I'm missing?
is so much of special education is driven by compliance, meaning meeting procedural timelines. They're important. They're tied to funding. Sometimes I think we do that at the expense of relationships with our kids, with our families, and with other colleagues. So when we're talking about the emphasis is on relationships, like those are the 3 components that if we've got that straight, the compliance stuff just comes. It gets solved.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry that I rolled too fast there.
No, that was, I'm processing slowly, one or the other. So you're looking for a
Who's on the
volunteer.
Tax cap.
So the tax cap was, the 2 reps are Alyssa and I, and Alyssa had volunteered to be
We had
co-chair.
discussed and I would do it.
Okay.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. Target month for delivery of information to the board from that committee.
I'm gonna recommend October,
That's the budgeting time.
because that's the budgeting time.
Yeah.
Although budgeting
Or
cycle obviously is a continuum, but
So do we want it before October then?
well, if they're just meeting for the first time
That's
this
true.
summer, I don't know what the.
October sounds great to me.
Got it.
If we can present earlier, we will.
Perfect.
Let's go.
I don't know how many times they're meeting, they're establishing all
Yeah,
that.
excellent. Thank you for that.
Some time.
The other outstanding piece was just negotiations. I previewed for the board that we've got 4 negotiations that we're going to be moving through this next fiscal year. The first is with the Administrators Union, that's the TAU. The second is with the Paraeducator Union, that's the TSSU. The other is with TAM, those are some of our skilled maintenance folks. And we have a new union starting in Timberlane with the speech and language assistants and the CODAs. So I'm looking for membership on those committees. We're going to begin planning sessions certainly this summertime. So I want to be able to leave tonight knowing who is involved for my team and your team so we can begin setting our dates with these associations.
Can I?
Yeah.
I think without Katie being here, I mean, is that a
Without Katie and
concern?
Paul, it does become problematic not having those 2 team members. What do we have a tight time frame? I'm guessing we
If I leave on the 19th with commitments from board members who's serving on which negotiations team, I think we will be okay.
Okay, let's all think about that, and the Woodworth folks who are able to serve on some but not others, let's take that into consideration as well.
Are we looking at 2 members per team, basically?
Yes. Yes, 2 members per team, so we're all in it.
Okay.
We spread that out pretty much over time. You know, some of those are not.
It didn't feel it.
It could be a few meetings. So it's not a killer of a commitment. Well, no, I mean, it can be for perhaps,
Yes.
you know.
There are a few that are heavier lifts, and I would be willing to throw my hat in for one of those, and I believe Katie would as well. So let's all think about, yes,
How
great.
about if anyone wants to volunteer today, we can at least get some names down and then anyone.
Let's survey interest.
Yeah, let's survey interest, in case Paul and Katie have a strong thought. Shauna?
So I would be willing to be a board member for TAM since I just recently sat on TAM negotiations where we added a few candidates to that pool, and also the CODA and SLPA.
I'll go TTA, and where needed.
TTA is not negotiating this year.
That's right.
It's TTSU.
TTSU. Sorry, sir, it's just such a pleasure.
I'm willing to go on any of them. I don't have a preference. I haven't done this before,
I'd join
so
you on the.
On TAM?
if there's a spot that needs to be filled, I can fill it.
And John for Tammy.
Certified occupational therapy assistants and speech and language pathologist.
Oh, that shouldn't affect anything.
Just think about it. That's what I'm letting you know what a CODA is.
Wherever you need me.
Okay, so Jack is open to wherever. Dawn, you would volunteer Tam?
And I'd probably do better with either TSSU or TAU.
Ms. Marion?
And we'll allow Paul and Katie to weigh in as well.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
And I'll close with this. I want to share that I visited an ELO product presentation today. So following back up with what you saw 2 weeks ago when Ms. Foley was here and she had some students kind of working through some things. Let me just describe to you kind of how this works and kind of what I see. I walk into the athletic trainer's office, which is where the ELO presentation happens. The student who participated in the ELO is there. Their parents are there. Their staff members who in high school have had an impact on that student or invited by that student to be there. The mentor, who is the content expert, is there. Ms. Foley is the assistant principal overseeing the program, is there, along with a few other school folks. And this is what happens during this time. There is a person lying on the athletic training table that is injured. And what I watched this junior student do was walk through a protocol to assess the injury and make a diagnosis. I lost count of the number of questions she asked when she passed 40. And then I learned after this that the way she's asking those questions and the sequence she's asking them in matters in terms of what she's able to do out of that. And then she makes the diagnosis and we talk through that. At the close of that experience, then it's open to the audience to ask that student questions. So then I got to watch this junior in real time, unscripted, not knowing what was going to be asked for any categories, able to have a real-time give and take of about 25 minutes of exchange with adults, talking about a profession that she wants to enter and a skill set she's learning in our high schools and earning high school credit for it. So in the end, this young lady will walk away from Timberlane with 1 full credit of ELO experience that she was able to craft and shape the experiences that she wanted. And she's already have her pathway carved. She's going to be going to college down south. She's enrolling in a program that's a 5-year program for athletic training. So that is an avenue of pathway for a student that we have here that's available to any and all high school kids that want to do those things. And it's performative. When I think about Cam letting you guys know that he's in theater and in band, like this is also a performance. You're in front of folks and you've got a plan, but you're also responding to things in real time. and to have the content knowledge to be able to do that and the wherewithal to be able to stand up and be able to deliver that as a young person is really remarkable to see, and it's just really proud to work in a district that opportunity is here for our kids. So I want to continue to thank the board for supporting those avenues. That's all I have for you tonight.
That's wonderful.
Yay.
Okay, personnel report and re-nominations. My girl.
I make a motion to act on the professional nomination of Brittany Sylvain, elementary teacher, Sandown North.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstention? Seeing none.
I make a motion to act on the professional renomination of Michael Rice, elementary teacher, Pollard School.
Second.
Second by Bree. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none. Excellent. Anything new with the vacancy report? No. Okay, same old. Committee reports. Start with Mr. Sapia. Mr. Woodworth?
No, I know that we have some stuff to be proud of in terms of the way the district's prepared curriculum over time, and it meets and exceeds the standards of the state across the board. We've been really working at keeping things with the best possible resources of information in the approval process over time. And as a result, we're in really good shape on something that we're required to do.
Excellent. For myself, Safety Committee can't go into a heck of a lot of detail, other than we're reaching out to Department of Homeland Security to having another Homeland Security assessment. It's something that happens every 3 years, and if we are out of compliance, then we are not able to apply for certain grants. So we're making certain that we're in compliance. There's not a heck of a lot else I can say about that.
Me. Curriculum and Assessment Committee met yesterday, and there's gonna be some information coming forward at the next board meeting from Sandy regarding a process that every district has to go through. So the state of New Hampshire has required all school districts to take a deep dive look at the standards that they use to enforce curriculum in their districts and make sure they align with the best current practices. And so all of that will be coming forward to us for our approval. I cannot even begin to explain the enormity of the project. They're looking at K through 12 curriculum in every single content area. And I want to praise the work of the folks that are on that committee. So it's coming to the board June 19th.
Okay.
CIP, thank you all. As discussed ad nauseam. Our next meeting is June 16th, if you'd like to attend, because 2 more members can come on down. And then wellness will be meeting in the fall.
No updates.
And Dawn and Shauna covered curriculum. A lot of work was reviewed, and it will be coming forth. So,
Okay. Any other business? New business? Alyssa?
I just want to do a shout out. Tonight was the first of the 2 nights of the instrument trials for the elementary school kids. So that was why I was a little late. I was there with my son tonight. So tonight was the first night, and then the next night I believe is Monday, from 5 to 7 at the PAC for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders of the district. Shout out to Kurt Schweiss and the rest of the music department. They put on a great night for the kids. There were a lot of kids there. A lot of kids switching instruments. So kids that had string instruments were switching for band instruments, a lot of new string instruments. So it was a good success and it went really well.
Excellent. So the real question is woodwind or brass in your house?
I had a cello player. I am now.
String.
Well, I had a cello player. I know, Cam, I'm so sorry. I knew you were going to be disappointed. He is now going to be playing the baritone.
Okay.
I know. The same kind of similar.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
got a nice
sorry.
picture today of also a new violinist and somebody switching to a woodwind.
Yeah.
So.
That's for me.
Yeah, great opportunity.
Mr. Sapia, under new business, did you have something?
Mr. Sapia.
Other-
So,
sorry.
make a long, well, this
Please
won't be a
don't.
long story short, but I've just watched so many things recently and which got me into the going and pulling up links on cell phone policies. I watched something the other day where they have a bell-to-bell, states are implementing a bell-to-bell policy. We talk about climate and culture, we talk about special needs. I can't tell you, 17 states have implemented some type of cell phone policy in their schools. I think it's high time that we do. I would love to see us implement something for the beginning of the next school year. If we are serious about climate and culture, if we are serious about how kids are feeling, if we're serious about grades, I mean, the jury's no longer out on how this is affecting kids. I would love to see that done. And I know it's a heavy lift, but you know what, that's what we're here to do. And if it's gonna increase the proficiency rates, if it's gonna make kids feel better and be more focused, and one of the interviews that I saw, they were interviewing teachers, and the teachers were like, almost instantly, the students started talking to each other. There was more interaction between students. They just seemed to be happier in their classes. So I don't want this to fall into the abyss, please. I think it's an important enough attribute or contribution that we can make to the classes and to the school. I know it's a salt to the parents to a certain extent, but I almost like, how did we do this in 1996? How did we get by without cell phones?
So are you asking the board to consider this philosophically, to bring
What
forward policy?
basically, I'm throwing it out there. I'm asking the board. I mean, I think it goes through policy. I think the administration gets actively involved. My goal was to have a list of links for everyone, and unfortunately, I got tied up today with some work stuff, and I didn't have all the links typed out so everyone could go in and look at it. But I would like to do whatever we have to do, policy, administration, school board, to have a policy in place for the beginning of the next school year. Just, I'm throwing it out there.
Great.
Two things. One, maybe that's like a ad hoc committee committee, maybe policy or representative combo. But I would actually like to hear from our student rep about this lovely piece.
Yeah, cell phones in the classroom, I've seen it this year. It's been not great, but it also depends on the person, the class, and the teacher. Those are the main things. I mean, some students, no matter what, you're not gonna get, they're gonna be in the back of the class watching whatever on their phone, or somehow figure out a way to get something on their laptop and play a game or whatever. So I think no matter what, that is gonna continue. I'm just concerned for the safety of the students. With a strict cell phone ban, I'm just, with all the things that are happening right now, it can be dangerous not to have a cell phone on you in case of an emergency. So that is definitely a factor I put at heart.
May I suggest, Mr. Sapia, then, you said you had some information you want to disseminate, do it through the S.
To one other point that Cam briefly touched upon, you know, one of the talking points in this was the person with the cell phone, yeah, it hurts them, but the students around that person trying to study, the teacher that has to monitor and control that. I mean, I was in the school for a year.
Yeah, we're not gonna have that whole discussion tonight.
No, I understand that, but I just wanna make that point because, again, I don't want to push this off and push this off. I want policy to be directed to dive in both feet. I want the administration, because this is what happens around here, right? If we truly are dedicated to those things that we're saying we're dedicated to, this is low-hanging fruit.
So my suggestion would be.
I'll get that out.
Get that out through the SAU so that it's not, construed as a meeting, so that we can review it and have more discussion for the points that you're bringing up, to see how it is the board feels, what we should bring forward as a recommendation to have policy, I believe, to look at this. Whether it's a ban or restriction, so that it's not a complete ban. I know that there are a lot of different avenues to go through. We're not gonna settle that here tonight, so give us the information you want, that you have, and then we can discuss it next meeting.
I think we were gonna settle it here tonight, Mark.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Don.
I don't wanna like put this on somebody, but I think superintendent talking to his administrators talking to their staffs, you know, that's where I think you're gonna get, you know, some constructive ideas about how to make, you know, technology, you know, in all its dangers, you know, whether it's cell phones or, like you said, somebody using a laptop, whatever it is, you know, to fit our need, our concerns about students being able to pay attention and do the things they're being asked to do in the classroom, without, you know, fear of, you know, social networking going on,
Yeah.
you know, interrupting the school day and keeping kids from learning. So, but I think we need to hear more through the superintendent about what the efforts are, what's going on, what's working, what's not, and encourage growth in that area. I don't think a top-down thing by community members, represented by, you know, the board here, is gonna be as effective. And I don't think teachers will buy in and students will accept it necessarily as, you know, a rule they hear that seems kind of arbitrary, set by people they don't know, that don't know their situation. There's a place for technology in our educational process. I think that has to be defined, and I do think that there needs to be limits on student freedoms to use, you know, their phones especially. But that, I think we need to let the people that are doing the work do that work.
It's interesting just to, I'm sorry, then I'll grab you. Mr. Krieger and I was, I think a year ago, the introductory or the welcome, we were in a Q&A session with 40 teachers at the PAC at least. And that question was brought up, and it was the most animated discussion I had heard in months. There are strong feelings both ways, and I think we were talking about doing some sort of survey with the teachers to see what their thought process was. And I think the language was not a ban, but it was some technology restriction. Certain classrooms, no, you don't have it. Others, you can use your phone to do, you know, research, what have you. I give you my word, we will talk about that and find a path forward so that it does not drop off the radar. Because with everything else we have happening, I see how these things do drop off the radar. I saw hands, Bree.
That mine kind of echoes that, where a survey would kind of gather that data that we're looking for. I do think one-on-one conversations with administration and teacher is important at this point, especially in the school year, because they're just overloaded with probably surveys, gradings, all that stuff, and might not get the best results, but maybe parents could be a part of that survey to get their involvement and considerations, especially if safety is brought into the kind of discussion. And again, it's just collecting data to move forward so that we understand all parties.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. And we have no other folks signed up to speak, I'm guessing?
No.
Okay,
Good guess.
correct. In that case, this public meeting is adjourned. We have none. No?
We need to go into non-public.
Yep.
Right, so
That's what I
we have
just
to make a
gonna
motion
say.
before you adjourn the meeting. Right, okay.
Thank you very
Make a motion to go into non-public under 91-A:3 subparagraph C.
Seconded by Alyssa. All those in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah, John Woodward,
Yes.
Rick Sherman.
Six one out.
Sean Mantle,
Yes.
Humphrey Woodward,
Yes.
Alyssa Qualsick,
Yes.
and Marion France.
Yes.
Now adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. Meeting is now adjourned.